So now it's probably a good point to flag that I forgot to unmute myself.
Hey,
would be the first episode of Possible Without Stress, so I got to start over. Okay, sorry. Here, let me do the introduction real quick, and I'll be quick about this. Hello and welcome everyone to the first episode of my podcast, Origin Stories. I wanted to create a podcast to sit down with content creators, streamers, VTubers, and people who generally interest me to ask them the question, what is your origin story? I have episode 0 that will be going live when this video goes up onto YouTube. And today we are sitting down with the person who introduced me to VTubing and was so gracious to share their time with me and kind of show me the ropes of like how to do VTubing. Caleb Oscuris, resident demon emperor, and I'll probably start before there. Listen, here's the point of the podcast: is like you can't be a VTuber without stress, but you can't do content creation without stress. So it's just gonna happen.
Yep, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Anyways, let's start this out. Caleb, do you want to like give like a quick introduction of who you are, where can people find you, and essentially what's your shtick?
Yeah, so my name is Caleb Oscuris. You can find me basically everywhere as OscurisVT. That includes Twitter, Blue Sky, Twitch. YouTube is a little bit more complicated because I opted to do the whole different channels for different projects. So I have like a YouTube Shorts channel. I have a VOD and Let's Play channel, and then I have a long form video content channel as well. But you can just find me all under the moniker Oscuris. If you find that, you'll probably find all my content. As terms of like my shtick is I've kind of come down to it as my main focus is writing, storytelling, and narrative and literary analysis. Albeit I also dip my toe into like political commentary. I dip my toe into just current event issues as well, especially current event issues happening within the VTubing community. Just giving my 2 cents on whatever is going on at the time. But my main priority is literary analysis, writing, reading, narration. That's my thing, because I kind of figured out like, well, in order to succeed in VTubing now, you got to have a shtick. You can't just be a VTuber, right? You can't just be a hunky anime man on the internet. You gotta have something to bring people to the table, right?
Right. Your male VTuber model can't be generic, right? You can't just be a male, dirty male VTubers.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. I hope you all follow Caleb. I'm going to give you a shout out in the Twitch chat, and while we're going on, there is a form open to ask Caleb questions. OscurisVT. Why is that not working? Well, let's try there. There it goes. That worked. I know your Twitch handle. Haha! I got it right first try. So yeah, there's a form pinned in my chat for submitting questions for Caleb. There's also a second form for suggesting guests for origin stories. The first like 8 to 12 guests are selected. I just need to reach out to each of them. And this will be recorded like every other week until it gets easier to do, or I run out of guests, right? And so I'll either speed up, slow down as needed. And the plan is to post these on my YouTube channel every Monday following the recording. So please do that. And then please do look at Caleb's channels as well, because I'm going to make the video available to Caleb to cut up however they want, if they want to make shorts. So yeah, please do check that out. Top of the hour, let's run down essentially what we're going to do. So I'm going to ask you the first big question, and then after that, I have a series of questions that I prepped for you that we can go through and just kind of like start the conversation. I have a mini game planned for each episode of the podcast, which you were the person who gave me the idea for this mini game. It was actually in the middle of one of your streams, called Shake or Shame, and the idea is it's basically smash or pass, but we shake on a topic and we agree it's good, or we shame and we're just like, God, what is wrong with the world? Uh,
Yeah. All
and
right.
then
Cool. Hell yeah.
after that, we'll hit into any viewer submitted questions. And for those of you who are watching this live, you have an opportunity to submit questions as well. And that's pretty much it. At that point, just sign off, and please do check out Caleb. Caleb is awesome VTuber. So let's get started with the first big question. What is your origin story?
So if you're talking about Caleb, or are you talking about the man behind Caleb? I'm kind of curious. Just to throw that question back at you. Which do you want to hear first, or which would you want me to talk about?
So the whole purpose of that question is really to do exactly that, to
Mhm.
essentially identify what is Caleb's origin story and what is your origin story, and how does Caleb and you integrate, right? Who's the person behind the VTuber, as well as who is the VTuber, right?
Okay. So I've talked about this a couple of times on my own channel, about like the sort of growth process. So Caleb and the person behind him are intrinsically linked. The best way to put it is that Caleb actually started off as a self-insert character for a story that I was trying to write ever since middle school and high school. Um, and Caleb was initially like super power fantasy, shonen esque type hero, and all that kind of stuff, right?
The male
But
power
as time
fantasy of
went
like,
on,
oh yeah.
yeah. But as time went on, Caleb grew as I did. Caleb became more nuanced. Caleb developed his own personality. And what really made the change into, Caleb as the person you see right now, especially design wise and personality wise and lore wise, was when I actually started playing D&D for the first time.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so I started playing Caleb as a D&D character almost, I wanna say, like, 6 years ago, I think,
oh wow.
maybe a little bit longer, um, and and Caleb has gone through a lot in that D&D campaign, and then when I was interested in running my own campaign, I also opted to make a fantasy version or a D&D version of Caleb, and that's where Caleb went from being, like, shonen protagonist adjacent to then being fully integrated into like high fantasy and
Right.
D&D related and all that. And then the when it came to doing content, because originally, before I became a VTuber, I was known as Burning Jalapeno. I was a face cam streamer, and I saw VTubing, especially from a couple. I thought VTubing was usually just for women or femme presenting people, but
Mhm.
then I saw people like Takahata, Red Claw, and I saw like a bunch of other like male or mask presenting VTubers show up, and I was like, well, I kind of like the idea of using a VTuber model. Um, Albeit I did the wrong way of doing it. I just kind of hopped into VTubing like right away. I got like a super expensive model. I think I spent somewhere like $1,300 on my first model,
Ooh.
and I was not even affiliate at the time. And I got that whole model, and yeah, ever since I became affiliate, I've been a VTuber, and you know the origin story of Caleb and me is very intertwined, given Caleb was like my first big writing project that I tried doing, and Caleb is the face of a lot of my content.
Yeah, so Caleb started originally as most OCs do, right? Where you kind of make your own, like, this is my dream of what I want to be, right? And time
Uh-huh.
period. It's really interesting hearing that Caleb evolved when you got into D&D, because like a huge part, a lot of people who this I learned in the last year, right? When you make a character in D&D, a huge part of that is picking their faults, right? And alignment
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So like you're then taking that OC and you're just like, oh, what makes them weak? What makes them vulnerable, right? And so in a way that kind of grows with your maturity, right?
Exactly, yeah. Um, I got to learn more about like how can I make Caleb an interesting character. What are his weaknesses? What are his faults? What are his quirks? And even now, I'm still kind of figuring out like how can I write Caleb to make him feel like an interesting and real character, not just, power fantasy and um not just self-insert.
Right. Because like you actually redebuted a few months ago when you got your new model from Mama Cav, Cavalier.
Yes.
And I remember your video for that. It felt more sorrowful. It felt more like is evoking those emotions of essentially an emperor or lord who is looking down on his kingdom and he feels the weight of the world. Right.
Yeah, and it also deals a lot with like Caleb also deals a lot with like his story is about isolation and like trying to find people that can be part of his life. That's a big thing as well. Um because the other thing too, the other like crux of the idea of Caleb as the VTuber he is now is he is sort of the high fantasy hero who is now retired, but he's kind of in that sense of he's not in the position he wants to be. A lot of what Caleb deals with, or a lot of what his story deals with he doesn't want to have the power that he does in the sense that he doesn't like the idea of kings and rulers and all that. He's not a big fan of that.
Right.
And it's the other reason why I went from being like Demon King VTuber to the founder of the Royal Archives because I wanted to be more than just oh yeah this other generic Demon Lord VTuber thing that a lot of other guys do. I wanted to be somebody who founded something that means more than just his crown.
Right.
It's so yeah, I tied a lot, and I even tied like a lot of my own real world stuff to it because I also am a library and like archival major. I got my master's degree in that, and I thought that would be a really interesting thing of combining the idea of somebody who wants to start like this university, this like fantasy university where people can attend for free and get all the knowledge that they need, whether it's magic or history or art or whatever. And that because a lot of that stuff is stuff that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about history. I'm passionate about art and the like. Um, and um because that's the mark that Caleb wants to leave on the world. He doesn't want to be remembered as just a king. He wants to be remembered as somebody who did the best for his people and made sure to leave resources and other materials available that people can still use freely, of course, too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's huge because like there's a lot of thought you can apply there where you can be the monarch, you can be the essentially the king who has the legacy of being a conqueror, right? Or you can actually set aside like push people into a golden age and golden era, right? As we
Exactly.
were starting and before I screwed up and forgot to unmute, I was asking about Ezra and the Royal Archives, right? Can you tell me more about like how you came to formulate like what is the Royal Archives and what is Caleb's story there?
Yeah, so the Royal Archives this idea comes from a lot of like historical examples of rulers funding universities. There are so many that have done this, whether it's in the Middle East, in Europe, things like that. The prime example that I use for this is um, Federico de Montefeltro. He is the Duke of Urbino. He is arguably the person or one of the people that started the Renaissance in Italy at the time.
Hmm.
Um, he basically turned all of his profits from like war and all that to funding universities and public works in the town of Urbino. It wasn't even like the most profitable town and all that. Like it's not on the main road throughout Italy. It's nowhere near Rome and all that stuff. And I just like that idea of a man who not only values his people, because that's the other thing too. Federico made sure that war never came to Urbino, his province, and that if anybody died under his command, he would make sure to pay the family and make sure that they're tended to following their death.
I did
And
not know that.
that's the main thing is that idea of a ruler taking care of his people. That story stuck out to me. But then the other story that kind of stuck out to me as well is of the golden age of the Ottoman Empire and the golden age of Islam as well, where the main person that kind of inspired this was Suleiman the First, the Magnificent. He's a very tragic, and very conflicted person in history, because he he expanded the Ottoman Empire. He did all these great things, but he was also kind of weak in certain senses. He was this deeply conflicted person because he was afraid of traitors in the midst. He was even afraid of his own sons near the end of his life. He made a lot of mistakes as a ruler, and I resonate whenever there's stories about rulers who have like this big conflict within themselves, they and how they are presented throughout history. And the other thing too as well is the Royal Archives also comes, or I guess rather the aesthetics as well, comes from like Mesoamerica as well. Like I'm very much trying to tie with Aztec or well Mexica
Mhm.
styles or Mesoamerican styles. Um, but then as well, I also took a lot of the philosophy from the Tlatoani, which are the, again, closest word would be emperor or kings of the Mesoamerican people. They had their own philosophy of what it meant to be a ruler, and again, the first thing that came to mind was a lot of their rules came from a leader should protect their people, right? That they need to prioritize the safety and this prosperity of the people rather than for themselves. And then, again, that's just something that resonates with me.
Yeah. Oh, you got me excited because you hit on both my art minor and as well as like, you know, I one of the questions I had prepped for you, and you know what, I'm just gonna pull it out now, right?
Uh-huh.
You're very open about your heritage, right? And being Latin American and your background and where you come from, right? Let, let me find my exact note of like how it is. A lot of VTubers actively try to hide their heritage, right? Because VTubing comes from idol culture, right? It comes from an idea of everyone looks like the typical anime protagonist, right? Or like a
Mhm.
character in an anime. Um, what are your thoughts on like ethnicity, heritage, and the VTubing content creation sphere, right? Think about like streamers like Iron Mouse, who's openly Puerto Rican, right? But only sometimes reflects that in her models.
Yeah. I think it comes from a place of like a lot of people want to detach themselves from their reality. While I do appreciate people that are actively talking about like, oh yeah, I'm Puerto Rican and all that. I do wish that more content creators were okay with showing that off. Like Iron Mouse, like it would be cool if like more of her different models either reflected maybe like traditional dress or
Mhm.
traditional appearances, things like that. Now, I can't fault people because some people don't want to like go into that too much because again, they want to protect themselves, and that's fair. But I feel like there's so much missing from the VTubing community though, because so many of us try to hide who we are from our VTuber models.
Right.
It really does suck because it really does suck because it's like it would be cool to like know from like how somebody is dressed to be like, oh well, this person's another Latino, this person's another African American content creator. But the other thing too is I also understand that like a lot of people, I think like the most famous example of this is Kenji.
Oh
Kenji, I
yeah.
believe, is African American.
Mhm.
But he does not show off he's the African American in his model because they're afraid of the racism, they're afraid of the backlash, and that's completely understandable. I know so many VTubers that have gotten bullshit comments from racists and the like, saying like, oh well, why are you a VTuber, why blah 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 blah, and VTubing's a white only space or things like that. And
Yeah.
it's so sad. I feel like people should have more pride in where they come from, but I also understand that people want to protect themselves because god, people can be pretty fucking hateful on like comments and the like.
Right. No, that's something I've always honestly appreciate with you and your models is like you very much like I see the accents, like you have the gold trim on your shirt, right?
Yeah.
And the different inspiration points, it's just like it kind of adds more flavor. And I do wish it was more present in the space, Um
Mhm.
it just makes things more interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, if
Right?
I wish I had more money for it too, because I would love to get more models or outfits designed to be more of traditional dress, because a lot of, like, my outfit is still very fantasy, right?
Mhm.
But, like, I took I like, the sash around my waist, that's very much inspired by, a lot of, like, Latin American and Spanish dress, um, but, like, I would love to do, like, an Aztec-inspired outfit. I would love to
Oh, that would
do,
be so sick.
um be right. I would love to do more like ethnic inspired outfits based from my own ethnicity and my own culture.
Right.
And the only problem is, no money right now. I gotta find the money,
I
and
don't
I gotta get on the
yeah.
list for Mama Cav because she's got a long list.
I don't know who has money right now. I'm looking and I don't have any. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be great to see. Just like we also have like we're coming up to Halloween and Day of the Dead, like Day los
Hmm.
Muertes. How cool would that be? As like just even just having a toddle just to do the skull face paint and just embrace that cultural day, right?
Exactly. I mean, while I don't have that at the moment, I do have actually like art of me dressed as like a Catherine
Mhm.
with the Dia de los Muertos inspired designs. I mean, I even did a comic or I even got a comic a while ago um to to commemorate the first Dia de los Muertos, where I felt like, I could I guess that I had, like, a stake in the, like, setting up the ofrenda and all that, because, the first time the first like, I lost my adopted grandmother along, like, a couple of
Oh
years ago
man, I'm
now,
sorry.
and it was the first time I really resonated with Dia de los Muertos, because, sure, seeing the ofrenda full of people, I didn't
Hmm.
recognize most of those people, or those were people that I wasn't particularly close with. But, like, seeing my grandmother, like, being on the ofrenda for the first time and all that, like, that really did resonate with me, and it's why I wanted to, again, be more forward with, I'm Mexican, I'm Latino, and I wanted more art to reflect that.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's actually kind of a good segue because I remember seeing. Are you still selling the sticker of that art, or do you? Because I saw that on your TwitchCon badge.
Yes, I'm still selling the sticker. I still have a big old stack of stickers on my in my bag from TwitchCon, but you can find the stickers on my merch store. That is definitely one of the stickers. I believe at the very least it's on a shirt.
Yeah, it's out there. So if anyone listening wants that, go check it out. Go check it out. Go play.
Yeah, it's on my fourth wall.
Right. So that's a good segue. So you were just at TwitchCon. Did you have
Mhm.
fun?
I did have fun. Yeah. Um, it was definitely really interesting. I will say that I made the mistake of not going all 3 days, because I feel like I could have gotten more out of the convention if I had gone
Oh,
for all three
really?
days. Because going for only one day, it made me think that like, only going for one day made, like, I felt like I messed out a lot, because
Mhm.
there were VTuber meetups inside the convention that I couldn't attend. Um, I didn't really know who I could talk to, because, like, TwitchCon is weird because it's sold as, like, a networking convention, but it's
Mhm.
also sold as, like, a meet and greet convention as well, so I found it a little odd to go to TwitchCon and, not network as much as I did.
Right. I mean, yeah, TwitchCon is weird. So like, um, I mean, what do you feel like you got out of this year's TwitchCon? Did you pull anything like of value, like just networking or just having a good time?
What I feel like I pulled out of TwitchCon was just having a good time and getting to meet people for the first time. I didn't get to meet everybody that I wanted to, but getting to meet people for the first time, some mutuals and the like, that is what made TwitchCon worth it for me.
Mhm.
Um, Inside the convention itself, not like the convention itself felt a little lackluster. I didn't really, and mind you, I didn't do as much research as I should have as to like what was going on inside the convention. But like, there wasn't really inside anything inside the like the main convention hall that really interested me.
Mhm.
So that was one of those things that I felt like TwitchCon doesn't isn't the best at. I guess is
Right.
like I think because their prioritization is really weird because they wanna focus on the viewers who attend the
Mhm.
convention, but they also wanna focus on the people on like the partners. But there's no real in between though. So it's this weird mix of like networking opportunities, but also just uh addressing the viewers. And
Right.
then but also being like an affiliate, I also felt very left out from TwitchCon because honestly, it was a bit of a slap to the face to go to the affiliate gift booth and only be given like a shitty pair of sunglasses where the partners get like the big old partner lounge and all that to relax. And I'm like, Jesus fuck, man. Like, yeah,
Right.
like show who you prioritize.
They throw
Uh
you a Kit Kat and spit on the floor, you know?
yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck, man?
Right? Um, yeah, so chat's asking, this was the next question. Um,
Mhm.
Really interesting to hear that background information because a lot of people cover essentially everything that happened at TwitchCon, the news of like Emaru security, the IRL
Yeah.
streamers. What are your thoughts on the events that happened?
The events that happened shouldn't have happened. I think Twitch fucked up. To be completely honest, I'm willing to say that Twitch fucked up. Um, um, Emiru should not have done the meet and greet if she did not feel comfortable doing the meet and greet. There should have been obviously more security.
Yeah,
Um, Emiru's own personal security guard shouldn't have been banned. Um,
God, that's
I
a
think
crazy bit.
every yeah, it's terrible. And that's the thing. It's like I felt like Twitch messed up big time, and now it's going to screw them over in the end. Because I
Right.
think what's going to happen is, I mean, I'm already seeing it, all over Twitter and Blue Sky, where people are saying that's their last TwitchCon. They're never going to go back
Ooh,
because of these security issues, and this alienation of content creators from TwitchCon is going, I think, going to be the death of the convention because people are not going to want to go.
right.
And if people's favorite content creators are not going to go, then then the audience is not going to go. The general audience are not going to go and attend TwitchCon either. Um, yeah, no, the security issues shouldn't have happened. Other security issues as well. The way they treated VTubers as well, especially those that were prioritizing their own safety and wearing masks. The way they were being treated, the way the lines were handled, it was just a big mess. And then also as well, the IRL streamers that were streaming the whole event and getting into people's faces and being a bunch of jerks and all that. It's like
Right.
it's so bad. It makes Twitch look less and less competent as time goes on because I keep seeing all of the stuff that Twitch is doing from TwitchCon to TwitchCon, and I'm like, man, you guys really don't care about your own. The only thing you guys care about is your own egos. Um, because yeah, uh, all they care about is like throwing this big old party, but not
Right.
actually like putting anything worthwhile towards the content creators.
No, it's really cool to hear that. And like I'm a little interested, like, so it sounds like overall security everywhere was kind of a joke. It sounds like
Mhm,
even Gamer Subs was actually loaning out their security guards to, their partners, right?
yeah.
So the whole place was just kind of a mess then.
Yeah, the whole place was kind of a mess. Again, there were the fact that like so many people were again being nuisances and with their live streaming bullshit. Like I thought it was like, why are they letting people like do this?
Right.
Um, and again, don't get me wrong, like I don't mind people that are like filming the event in general, but when they're getting into other people's faces, that's the thing that is really annoying, and then they're actively being antagonistic.
Right.
It was really stupid.
Like, as someone who's organized like a convention event myself, because I did that in one of my career jobs.
Mhm.
It's really hard to control everything, but at a certain spot you have to know your audience. I think what it's clear is that Twitch does not know their audience, right? So
Yeah.
they're either wanting things to happen because it's sensationalized news, right? Brings attention
Mhm.
to them, right? Or they have no idea how to handle it. And with the way they kind of treat VTubers, especially with like model reveals and stuff
Mhm.
like that, it's like, it kind of tells me that like either they're not listening or they're not paying attention. Right.
Mhm.
They,
Exactly.
they have, they have partners, they have their ambassadors, right? And there is a few VTuber ambassadors. So it's just like, are you guys not listening? Are you not taking their feedback? Are you not including them in these
Mhm.
conversations?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
it's crazy, right? So like
Mhm.
knowing all this, do you think you'll go back next year? If because they announced TwitchCon is coming back, but what was different, shout out to Zach Boosie who caught this, is
Mhm.
from previous years they would announce the dates at the end of TwitchCon. This year they announced TwitchCon's coming back, but they didn't announce the dates, which is a huge red
Mhm.
flag.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I am, personally. If I, I think the only time I would go to TwitchCon is if I knew a group of friends that were gonna go, and I would go with them. But I don't think if I'm gonna do it like I did this year, I probably won't go. I would much rather go to Offkai instead. And thankfully, Offkai is going to be in July, I believe, like the end of July, which is a little bit easier for me to attend. I
Oh
think.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think Twitch has fucked up and lost so much faith. So so yeah, we're not at the very least, like, I'm not gonna go. And I would probably, or I not probably, I will encourage my friends not to go and to go to other conventions,
Yeah,
because at the very least there's other conventions that they could probably attend and feel safer at too.
yeah, that's big for me because like I'm slowly pushing myself to go out, and I was seeing every breakfast you had. I was like, God, I'm jealous. I want to go. I want to go and meet Silvervale. I want to go and meet all these cool people who inspired me. Right? Um,
Mhm.
that's such a bummer. So like, it sounds like off guys on your list. Is there a top tier list of like where are you trying to go?
Well, I think Offkai has moved up on my list because the idea of a like VTuber convention has definitely caught my interest, because I would at least hope that, from a security standpoint, they're willing to take care of their VTubers, the VTubers that attend a lot more.
Mhm.
Um, I'm kind of curious to see like how they treat like indie and smaller creators as opposed to just like the big ones, because I hear nothing but like the big VTubers talk really proudly about Offkai, but I'm also a little hesitant as well, about like, well, do I really like how do they treat VTubers of different community sizes, right?
Right.
That's the big thing.
Like, are you gonna
Um,
make the cutout list for off guy? Because there's always the huge cutout line.
yeah, like that. I would love to do that, but would they want my cutout there?
Right.
Even though, because I'm such a small VTuber, or like that's the thing. Um, and then the other thing too is I've thought about like reaching out to like some of my local conventions, or like conventions in in a close enough area or somewhere that I would like to travel to, and be like, "Hey, I would like to like apply as a guest for this convention, because I think it'd be really cool and be a good opportunity for both of us and all that." Whether I would go in person or be like that little robot that wanders around the convention, I think either or would work for me.
Right. I have been seeing ever since the death of Vishojo, more and more of like Zentrea and other VTubers who aren't ready to like be out in the open like that. They
Hmm.
usually hire someone to take them there, and like as like a smaller VTuber, right? Someone who's familiar with
Hmm.
conventions. Maybe there's a niche there, right? Maybe that's something where as the technology gets better, being able to take people and live stream there and be respectable IRL live streamers, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that would
cool.
be really cool.
Holograms wins, Matt's desk.
Oh wow, that would be fucking cool. That would be really
Technically,
cool.
technically that does exist because with idol culture, there that has happened a couple times with like I know Hololive's done some stuff like that. It's just there's usually a lag time, which doesn't make it
Mm.
as fun. So what ends up happening is they usually do the large screens, which is basically the same thing as we're doing now, right? We're just streaming to a screen, and then there's a camera there recording the people and their answers, right? That seems to happen a lot. But yeah, cool. Why don't we jump topics a little bit? So, um,
Yeah.
one thing I did want to ask you. So you're open on stream about your education, right? And you recently just completed your master's degree. I
Mhm.
want to ask you, what challenges are you facing right now as someone who is graduated at such a high level into this current world?
So it really just comes down to like finding a job, right? Because my degree in general is facing a lot of problems thanks to the current administration because and just this move, right? This move and dismissal of higher education and critical thinking skills as well. This erasure of history because for just to give some context for people that are here and have not met me before, my degree is in library and information sciences with a focus on archival studies. And I learned that like throughout the course of my degree that there is this big movement to sort of like basically decolonize our ways of archiving materials and our library systems and making them into places where we're actively identifying marginalized and oppressed stories and histories and making an effort to preserve them. um and but the thing is with our current administration, not to get too political, but this movement towards the erasure of history that just doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to permit has made it very hard. Like I personally was looking into taking on a fellowship at the Library of Congress. And then but one thing that was a little concerning was like, well, how is this current administration going to treat the Library of Congress? And well, it turns out not that well. And so I'm glad I didn't sign up for that fellowship because I might have not been able to continue it if with everything going on right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very concerning right now to deal with what we're dealing with, and how it's impacting our move like our education in general, because again my degree is very education oriented or related. And again, this movement, this like I hate this whole thing of like it's not that deep, bro, when in reality, yes, bro, it is that deep. And it sucks that like that is becoming the main talking point for a lot of people, that oh, it's not that important, it's just education, or it's not that important, it's just history. It's like,
Right.
no, guys, like history is so important. You guys just have bad, like you guys have the American education system, and you guys don't realize how important history actually is.
Right. No, that's something where I have multiple family members who are educators and like, one who is actually a librarian. I'm just like, God, this sucks. And I
Yeah.
actually didn't, me myself, as educated as I am, right? You're the person who educated me on like the actual role of libraries. I'm just like, oh yeah, library. That's just where you go to like read books. Like, no, it offers a lot more like actual like social
Mhm.
services, right?
Yep. Uh, there's a lot of social services that we're involved in. The thing is, libraries are what are called third spaces as well. They're places where you can go to and not be expected to spend any money in order to be there. And those places are dying out. We like because of how America is kind of built, we don't have those spaces anymore. We're so car focused. We're
Mhm.
so consumer focused as well. But to be in a library means that you're not doing that. You're not consuming like a consumer, you're consuming like you're student or an educator. and that like libraries are so important for that because as well too. Um, the other thing as well is libraries are also places where people can get like their hands on like certain technologies like 3D printers. If
Mhm.
you live in a well-to-do library, obviously, or where in an area where you would have a well-to-do library.
Yeah. Um, yeah, chat's calling out that they're important for both mental and emotional social spaces. And as
Mhm.
I get older, right, I'm encountering a lot of people who are like, "Oh, as you get older, you stop learning." I'm just like, no, never stop learning. Always be an academic, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the human mind is you can always learn. You can always
Mhm.
expand your knowledge. You might forget something, but you can pick it back up, right?
Yeah.
Um, that
Exactly.
that's such a cool thing. And like I feel like, this is something that, honestly, your work and like your degree should be championed more. It should be like
Mhm.
no question, right? But that's kind of how things are right now.
Yeah, and the other thing too, it's not even necessarily like being an academic. It just means that like the way I advocate it is because not everybody's meant to be an academic. Not everybody's meant to like philosophize about like the
Right.
importance of certain things. But at least like keeping your mind open and being a lifelong student and always taking the opportunities to learn. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. You know what? This is a good segue to the next question. I want
Hmm.
it's hard to be a VTuber or a content creator and not be a creative, right?
Hmm.
Who are your creative inspirations? Who do you look at and you're just like, "Oh, I want to do that."
Oh, so there's a bunch. So like from like a writer's perspective because one of my big things is writing, right? One of my big inspirations for that is like Tite Kubo, like the
Mhm.
author and artist for Bleach. I love Bleach. Um like that's one of my biggest inspirations. As well as like from a writing perspective, as I've gotten older and like or even as I've gotten older, I've always looked up to like writers like Rick Riordan,
Mhm.
um, Christopher Paolini. Like those were some of like my big introductions to like fantasy, whether it was urban fantasy or high fantasy. Um, um, as well as just seeing some like artists or like creative teams as well, like the creative team behind like the Castlevania series is
Oh
another
god,
big
yeah. Oh.
inspiration. Yeah, like
Ooh.
they're fantastic. Sam and Adam Dietz, especially after they took over the project, fantastic guys. And they're another just big inspiration for aesthetics, writing, and storytelling.
Mhm.
There's so many. The author for Legends and Lattes is another one.
Legends and
Because the fact
Lattes.
that he also narrated his own audiobook for Legends and Lattes and
No
Bookshops and
shit.
Bone Dust. Yeah.
That's
I've
awesome.
got I've got a bunch of I've got a bunch of creatives that I'm really that have inspired me in one way, shape, or form. Um,
Sick.
like I try to be well read. I try to be like focused on like a bunch of like different topics and the like. And so yeah, there's a lot of people that have inspired me in one way, shape, or form.
Cool. So, like, as a writer, then, like, what is your creative process? Right? Do you take inspiration from them? Do you start with an outline, or do you just like are you one of those people who just like sit down and you just crank stuff out?
So I used to be that type of person that would try to crank something out just from an idea or vibes alone. But I realized that that's the thing that kind of like hindered my creative process. So I'm actually trying to go with an outline of like how I'm gonna go about doing this.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I've tried to do more outlining now as I've gotten older because I've not finished a project unfortunately. Um, and that's my bad because I'm just so hyper like or not hyper fixated, but like my brain goes off into a million different directions all at once. So having an outline is really important now, at least now what or at least for what I'm doing now as a writer is going in with an outline. Um yes, neurospicy is the best way to put it,
Right.
chat. And that's the thing, it's like going into writing, I have to go into it more I had to go into it as this idea of I'm going to finish the project. Um, and like this is a project not just for like getting the vibes out. I want the like I still do like vibe writing every now and then. Um, couple of my short stories are kind of focused in that sense where they're focused on vibes and feelings. But my larger projects are now being outlined and the like because again, I want to focus and get that stuff done.
Cool. No, that's a great answer. So with that in mind, then what are your long-term career goals?
Um, there's a lot there. I still would love to be a full-time content creator if I could somehow manage that. I don't know if that's in the cards right now, considering that, you know, with everything going on and, you know, wanting to move out and yeah, and all this other kinds of stuff. Um, I don't know if that's in the cards for me, but at the very least, I would love to at least publish one full-length book and publish my book of poetry. The book of poetry is a little closer than the full length novel, but since I'm actually in the process of editing the book of poetry, um, but the full length novel has always been my dream. I would love to, you know, write a bunch of different stories. Like I've got a bunch of short stories outlined. I've got a bunch of full length novels outlined, and I would love to finish writing them. But it comes down to I need to like buckle down and write. And I find that hard with a lot of the stuff that I'm dealing with on the side of like trying to find a job and all that. But now that I do have a job, you know, I probably can actually like focus on all right, I can write now and not worry about having to make, you know, ends meet in order to pay off my bills and all that.
Right. Yeah, that's something that I struggle with, and I got like a decade on you because like
Mhm.
it's so hard to finish a project, but it's also so hard to like do a 9 to 5, then still have the mental capacity to like I'm going to knock this out, and that's kind of where streaming is great because streaming you can kind of like
Yeah.
it is work, you are doing it, but at the same time too, it's like you're kind of pulling a different version of yourself out, and it's just
Mhm.
fun, right?
It
Um,
is. Yeah.
Cool. I want to get some more questions out about Caleb and Caleb's backstory. Um, are you cool hanging around longer? Because this has been a great chat.
Oh yeah, no, I'm down to keep going. This can go
Perfect.
for this can go as long as you want it to. I'm free this whole day or
Okay,
this whole
cool.
evening rather.
Just checking in. Okay, then let's jump to like Caleb Oscuris, right?
Yeah.
Um, we've already kind of talked a little bit like how Caleb is a reflection of yourself and your heritage. Um,
Mhm.
can you give a summary of Caleb's lore?
Yeah, I can do that. So Caleb's lore revolves around that he is a prince. That's the best way. Like again, just gonna simplify the terms here. He is a prince who is ultimately banished and exiled. Uh, and he is basically trying to fight to reclaim you know his homeland from the it's gonna sound a little silly, but he has an evil stepmother basically. That's the best way to put it. It goes into a lot of political stuff though, because it's this idea that like what is Caleb really fighting for at the end of the day? Is he fighting to reclaim his throne of like, you know, does he want to be king? Does he want to like give more power to the people? That kind of thing. And
Right.
so the best way to put it is like Caleb's story is very much like a mix of you know, the Count of Monte Cristo, this like exiled prince, this punished prince, sent um sent basically to die, but like instead going out into the world, forming this rebellion, forming this revolution. Um and ultimately he does succeed. There's a lot of losses along the way, there's a lot of challenges along the way, and it again there's a lot of questions like it like who is the man that Caleb is going to be at the end of the day? Because he starts this journey roughly at around like, you know, 17, 18 years old. If I
Mhm.
remember correctly of like my timeline. And so Caleb again, he builds this big political movement, and he builds this revolution to try to change the world for the better. Um,
Right.
and then ultimately, by the end of it, it's not the revolution he wanted, but it is the change. It is a better change for the world at large. And being this, like, having gone on this almost like 20-year journey, because it's a very long journey that he goes on. Um, from being like an exiled prince to a revolutionary to then being a king. Uh, it to where Caleb is now in terms of like design wise and where he started. Yeah, it's about 20 years. Um, he's done a lot. He's met a lot of people along the way, and he deals with a lot of interpersonal issues as well.
Mhm.
This idea of like trying to balance this grandiose idea, this like grandiose ideas that he has, and but also trying to still be a person at the end of the day is really hard for him.
Right.
It's there's a lot of issues with identity as well as like who is Caleb at the end of the day? Is he this prince, or is he this royal person that is going to do right by everybody, or is he going to be this monster that just does things for his own gain at the end of the day? There's a lot to it. And because there's so much lore behind it, I can only just give it the brief premise of exiled prince fights to return home. But there's a lot more to it than just that.
Now the time jump is interesting because like you're also a demon, so like I don't know if time is like 1-to-1 in your scenario, right? So
Mhm.
like how is where Caleb is now a reflection of your journey, and how has Caleb evolved with you, right?
Mhm. So in that time span, it's not directly one to one. I'm big into world building, so
Mhm.
roughly um, roughly, Caleb is about like in his mid 30s, where you're looking at him right now, right?
Right.
And but in terms of like actual like time span though, if you were to reflect that into human years, Caleb's probably closer to 60 earth years, but it's 60, or it's 30 years on the planet that he's on, just because
Dog
of just
years.
time and all that. So but in between like starting like his journey, and then Caleb has grown in a lot of different ways. Caleb has dealt with heartbreak in a bunch of different ways. Caleb has dealt with grief in just as many as well. Um, and it's also a reflection of like my own struggle with identity too, because again it reflects back to like who does Caleb like. Growing up too, Caleb has not had like the best childhood, even for being, a very privileged person in his society. But it's all more like interpersonal stuff
Yeah.
and or internal stuff as well. And Caleb struggles with like, okay, well, who am I at the end of the day? People call me this, people call me that. Is that who I am? And that's stuff that I've struggled with as well. And still trying to figure out like who are you at the end of the day, and what kind of mark do you want to leave on the world is a big part. It's a big reason why, like, again, the idea of the Royal Archives ties into my own degree and my own movement to like, because I've always been a public servant. I've always worked
Yeah.
for the public in one way, shape, or form. And because I always wanted to be an educator, I've always wanted to teach in or one way or another. And that's the thing with like tying Caleb's story with my own, is just like Caleb wants to again leave a better legacy for the world, rather than just leave statues and grand palaces and all these public works. He wants to actually leave behind a legacy of education, a legacy of trying to make the world a better place beyond his own time.
Yeah, that's it's great because like I'm just going to the Michael Jackson, do I recognize the man in the mirror?
Hmm.
Concept of like, oh yeah, no, it's like I am who I am, and then you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, who's that?
Hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
really, really interesting too, especially in where you are in your personal life. You know, you're transitioning out of an academic into what people say is the real world, even though I'm just like, what even is the real world, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I did want to ask you about your side characters. Who's Persephone and who is Gilbert?
So Persephone and Gilbert are familiars. Persephone more so. Persephone is a hellhound. She is just one of the things, one of the creatures that Caleb can summon. Um, she's a hellhound. She is like, I believe, if I remember correctly in my timeline, she is one of the first familiars that Caleb can summon. There is a running joke throughout the entire story that Caleb probably should have been a druid. But he's like,
Fucking
well, yeah,
druids.
unfortunately not. I can't be a druid, but I do have all of these like familiars that I summon. Um Gilbert is a Dragobee. Now, Gilbert is not an original creation of my own.
Mhm.
Gilbert was created by Pudding and Malo,
Okay.
and but I incorporated him into the lore. Uh, a Dragobee is just like this big fucking chunky dragon.
Oh,
Um, yeah, let me actually so Fen can see it. So Gilbert went from being like a little tiny dragon to being an absolute unit.
right.
Um, and he and because he's a dragon, he's not a familiar in the sense that Persephone is, but so he grows and changes. And since I've had him for a couple of years now, I think it's appropriate that Gilbert had a bit of a growth spurt.
Right. So
And
so
so yeah,
was
they
oh go ahead.
oh go for it.
Well, I was going to say like is Gilbert technically would this be like a YCH kind of thing where you commission this piece and it's kind of by the bones, right?
Kind of. So the way that this worked with Malo and Pudding was Malo and Pudding little while ago said like, "Hey, we want to test a product out,
Okay.
where we give you this egg, and if the and as long as you keep the egg on stream and like do the things that the egg likes, the egg will hatch." And
Okay.
so and so a Dragobee was just one of the choices or one of the outcomes for the egg hatching. Um and so Gilbert hatched. I actually got like the rare color
Oh, cool.
for Gilbert. I don't know what the other colors for the Dragobee look like, but I just love my little goofy boy. My chunky lad now. And it's kind of like a YCH, I would say. Um
Mhm.
he is not purple. He is a wonderful like gray toned with blue horns and big poofy cheeks. Um, but yeah, Gilbert is essentially like a pet or not
Oh,
familiar, but I just
screen.
say familiar to make it easy, because he's just one of many. Um, because Caleb actually has two familiars that I've not. Well, he has two familiars. The only ones that are not on stream are Orsha, who is the big shadow lion that appears in some of the art that I've gotten, and then uh, Yositla, who is it's an amalgamation of a couple words, but her name
Uh-huh.
basically means starry night, and
Is
she is a nightmare. She is a demonic horse, or a horse made
oh,
out of darkness. Yeah.
okay. So I pulled Gilbert up on screen for those to see. Um, that's that's Gilbert's final form, and if you drop it on TL stream, you can actually use TTS to make Gilbert and Persephone Todd.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering if I stole. So who's the big cat in some of your artwork? I stole this piece off your Twitter, and I'm just like, who is this?
That is Orsha. That is the big shadow beast, the shadow lion.
Okay,
That is
because
Orsha.
yeah, just little baby, right? And I also yoinked Persephone here. I enjoy dropping by Caleb's stream and making Persephone talk all the time, and I'm just trying to break them.
The funny thing is, so almost so of the four, they've all gotten at least like one piece of art
Mhm.
because Diositla appears in it appears in my Final Fantasy tactics art. Let me go ahead and send that
Oh.
to you.
Oh,
Um
okay. Wait, did I steal that?
uh
I'm always jointing art. Oh,
yeah.
this I recognize this piece. This piece was so good.
Yeah. So all of them have gotten art. I would love to get like a full like character sheet done for
Right.
each of the four main familiars that I've come up with thus far. There are others that Caleb can summon, but these are the four main ones that he actively keeps with him.
Just the staring out at the ocean, man.
Yeah, you could thank my one of my best friends for that. Wise, Whimsical Wise made that when I showed him the art.
Right. You know what? That actually might be a good segue to some just general like streamer questions. I did want to hit on who do you think is an undiscovered talent right
Ooh, undiscovered talent right now.
now?
Ooh.
Mhm.
Um like bias wise, like I definitely do think like my friend Vex is very much undiscovered. I think
That scene.
Vex does a wonderful jobs. Yeah, Vexing Cat.
Mhm.
Um Vexing Cat is fantastic. I love her. I love her content. Um I
Um,
just she's a
two
lot more
X's.
focused on the narration stuff than I am, and she's way more articulate than I am when it comes to like when it comes to literary analysis. So I'm a little envious of her and like her ability to like put things together so eloquently. I am not so eloquent. I need to actually have a I actually need to have like a script if I'm going to be eloquent. For Vex, it's natural for her. Um, as well, I also think Scully's sinful as well.
Okay.
Like Scully had like this big momentum a little while ago, and I don't know what happened, but like Scully is still one of like the best VTubers I've seen.
Yeah.
From like a content creation standpoint, I think
Right.
he puts a lot of effort into what he does, and it just sucks that like it's the fucking game that is it's the game that is being a content creator, right? Where like even if you put all like your time and money, like and sure you might have like a momentum, but
Right.
if for whatever reason that momentum doesn't stick, you fizzle. And it sucks that like Scully has had so much struggle with that because I don't think he should have fizzled as hard as like the algorithm did him, because I think his content is still either had the same quality or has gotten better.
Yeah. He rated me once, and he's a chill dude. I like him.
Yeah, he's super chill, and it sucks that like the algorithm just did him dirty. But
Mhm.
I don't know, man. It's again the content creation game is a fickle mistress.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy, right? Um, is there any other up and coming streamers or just people in general you want to like shout out and just be like, hey, check out my boy.
Ooh, check out my boy. So I recently this is one of the friends that I made at TwitchCon. Let me grab his handle. It's
Okay.
King Farlan.
King Farman. Why is that
Let
familiar?
me grab. I think Farlan is spelled Farlon. Yeah.
L-O-N?
Um yeah, so it's
That's
King
weird.
underscore Farland on Twitch.
Oh, Farlan. So like without a
Farlon, yeah.
D.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
see
really
it.
dig his design too, and he's a super chill guy. Like we hung out almost every day.
Mhm.
And he's awesome.
Right on. I'm going to check them out as well. This is
Um
partially recon for me to look for like people that I'm like, bring on to the podcast, come to me.
exactly, yeah. Um
um, yeah, go.
there's a lot of people that I like I could give shout outs to, because I try
Mhm.
to follow and keep up to date with like a lot of the people that I've met through VTubing.
Yeah.
Um
And then I think your friend Brady is did Brady debut yet or not? I know Brady was preparing to. Grimlock
Bragi
Brady.
is waiting to debut.
Mm,
Bragi is another one as well.
mhm.
Especially because like his main focus is a lot of writing stuff. but he is also a variety content creator. So Bragi deserves like a big old shout out too,
Got it.
because of how one, he's a fucking absolute menace. Just like how you break me with my TTS, Bragi breaks me with his reading redemptions. Because he has me narrate his stuff. And Bragi is definitely one of those people that like he's a really good writer. Um
Mhm.
but motherfucker writes a fuck ton. I think his chapters are anywhere from like 10,000 words to like 20,000 words, and
Oh, Jesus.
it's a lot. It's why I give him shit for it, because it's like, man, my god, dude, you write so much for a chapter. And it's one of those really interesting things too, from like a writing perspective, like how different a writer can be with one another. Because like
Mhm.
I'm very uh I'm not super verbose. I like getting to the point. I like, don't get me wrong, like I believe in like, setting the stage and setting the scene.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't write as much as Bragi. Like again, he can fill out a whole novel in like 10 chapters, where for me it would probably take like anywhere from like 20 to 30 chapters in order to get like a book done, because he just writes so much more than I do. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm a
Jeez.
little envious. I'm a little envious of how much Bragi can write, but sometimes it's just like, god damn it, there's so much writing here. There's so
Ugh.
much for me to read. And like I and it's also like the thing too, it's like I also feel like he does
Writing is
this, a
hard.
couple of other writers do this as well, where they write these big long chapters where I can very clearly see like one section could be a chapter, this other section could be a chapter, this
Mhm.
other section could be a chapter. They basically squish like 3 or 4 chapters into one, and it's
Oh,
like, my god,
dude.
I'm reading like a half a novel in just one chapter.
When I was young, I actually read Bram Stoker's Dracula unappended, and it was one of those things where Bram Stoker is definitely one of those writers where it's like you could literally take Dracula alone and turn it into 50 novels, easy. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's not some people are just built different when it comes to writing.
yeah. And yeah, writing is hard, like chat says. It's one of those things where it's um like I can write a lot, but like again, like I try to focus on just like getting to the points
Right.
first, rather than just like filling it with what I think is unnecessary detail. Like I don't try to go in like super in depth with like inner monologues. I try not to go super in depth with setting settings. Also,
Mhm.
I prefer just kind of keeping things simple when like talking about like speaking roles. This is one of those things like I give like a little nitpick on Bragi about. So I just like keeping things simple, and
Mhm.
just saying like he, they, her, whatever,
Right.
and occasionally referring to like other like pronouns or
Oh,
other
dude.
nouns to refer
Y-
to them. But I rather just use the names, rather than just like describing the person each time I'm talking to them,
right.
or
You
each
just
time I'm
mm.
writing about them.
You just hit on my biggest gripe with like Final Fantasy 14 and like some stuff when they try to write in Old English. It's after a while, it's just like, okay, well, common vernacular is okay.
Exactly. Common vernacular is okay. Like, I don't know. It's again, it's one of those things where like as a writer, like my whole thing is like I'd rather like I try to keep things again fairly simple, and like it's also why I don't have like big cast moments as well.
Mhm.
Just because it's like I want cast moments to be easily followed. And
Right.
I rather refer to names than descriptors myself.
Mhm.
And so much writing is so much, and it's not a thing that only Bragi does. Other writers do it as well. I just prefer saying like, yeah, no, like he, they, her,
Right.
insert name here, occasionally insert title here, and that's it.
Right. You know you're in trouble when the title's inserted.
Yeah.
Okay. God, that's great so far. So I do want to hit on this one thing. You are open to writing commissions, right?
I am, yeah.
So how do you approach commission work and like how do you approach commissioning an artist?
Okay, so when it comes to like being approached for work, I like getting as much detail as I can from somebody who's commissioning me. In the 3 commissions that I have worked on, um, so I've worked for 2 commissions for Selly. for Celesterius.
Cool.
And both
Awesome
times,
artist, by the way.
yeah. I've given like Selly has given me like a general vibe and has kind of let me like go wild with it. And just kind of like write as I've needed, like or write as much as she needs. She gives me some details here and there. But because of like the nature of writing short horror, um
Ooh.
it very much comes down to vibes, right?
I didn't know it was
There's a
short
commission that I'm
horror.
Yeah, it was two horror commissions that I worked on for Selly, yeah.
Oh, you should do readings of that next week. I'm just saying. Just
Yeah.
saying. Sell.
Yeah, no,
Stare.
I am tempted to actually revisit those two commissions for Spooky Month, for the end of Spooky Month.
Oh, that would be
Um
so great.
the other one was the other one that I'm working on right now is a little bit harder
Mm.
because it is a fanfic one, and I don't write fanfic typically, so this is fanfic between my VTuber sibling, Takara, and
Oh.
Doctor Strange, and
Okay.
yeah, yeah, she loves Doctor Strange, and I am in the like I'm still waiting for her to give me feedback on it. I'm not sure if she's read it or not, so I need to reach out to her and see like, hey, did you like this or not? Um, and um, and the thing is, it's like I wrote like a draft, and I thought this draft was good. Like I thought, like, because it's a spicy short
Right.
story too. Um and then she came back with me like saying like, hey, like she basically hit me with the actually, which I don't mind. Like,
Oh.
again, this is what I like. Again, when it comes to writing, I prefer to like get as much detail as possible. Um because like I know jack all about Doctor Strange. So she gave me the actually about him, and I'm like, okay, well, it took me a little while, and I'm still not done with the commission because I'm waiting for her feedback on the edited first part before I get to the spicy bits.
Mhm.
Because I was like, all right, I kind of want to see if this is like a good direction from where I'm going, because I don't want to like write all the spicy bits and then get like, oh wait, like this
Oh,
this
wait. Actually, it goes to the left, not to the right.
yeah, exactly, because of the things I learned about Doctor Strange from Takara, the whole scene I had to basically scrap and be
Right.
like, okay, well, how am I going to do this now and still meet the expectations for Takara? The
God.
and that's one reason why like I typically don't ask people to pay me right away
Mhm.
for my writing commissions, because I want to get like a general word count in for like the general like overall length first, and then for me to at least get one draft done, and that
Yeah.
way they people get an idea of like, okay, the draft is going to be this many words long, so expect like maybe the final draft, if you need me to make some changes, to be this long, and so you know pay this much, right?
Right.
That's the general idea that I went with for that. Because again, it's like because I haven't finished the Takara one yet, so I'm because I'm still trying to figure out like, okay, how do I do this to get this right for her and for the character, right?
Mhm.
And it's hard. It's hard to do that sometimes as a writer, to be like, okay, well, I kind of fucked up here. Then, how do I continue
Right.
with this? Though again, I do take the criticism well. I like finding out new things about like a character, or maybe a writing technique that I maybe need to improve on.
Yeah. No, no, that's actually very like smart and generous of you, because like I've done work for clients where they have completely changed on me on a dime, but usually I outline the amount of hours it takes. If they make those changes, there's penalty fees, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And that's just very generous with your time, so it makes it easier for like people who are just breaking in to be like, okay, let's figure out how to do this and do this good,
Hmm,
you know.
exactly. Like the because I am like a brand new writer. Like I and the other thing too is because of my fees, because like I look at some other writers and their fees. I'm like, I feel like people are underselling themselves for their writing commissions. Because
Mhm.
the other thing too is like I'm a like I write in a wide variety of styles. Like I can write like research, I can write like academically, I can write poetry, I can write, fiction and all that. And so that's the thing. It's like I went with because of like my wide skills in like being able to write, I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna like bump my rate up a bit.
Yeah.
Um, but be generous with it as well, and like leave room for adjustments, leave room for changes, because if people are going to pay me this much, what I think I'm worth, I would like to give them at least like an opportunity to get some changes in.
Oh, that's the hardest thing for creatives to do is to just outline, be like, hey, I am worth this much, or like I used to charge this much, I'm now worth this much, right? Because there's
Yeah.
there's a stigma in business that don't pay for something that used to be free, right? And
Hmm.
that kind of gets pushed onto creatives, and creatives don't know what they should charge anyways. Oh my god, I'm looking at this link from
Hmm.
Cell. Oh, this looks so good.
Yes, this is one of the commissions done by Selly, or
Mhm.
I guess, well, Selly drew the zine,
Right.
and I wrote the short story behind this, and it's just one of the commissions that I've worked on.
Yeah, I'm going to just show it real quick uh on stream so that way people can see Sally's not so good work, and I'll see if I can add a link to it later. This is just beautiful. Me as someone who has like an art minor, I'm just like I'm looking at it, I'm just like, you got shapes here, you put in a triangle there, so you lead the eyes this way, you got some good leading lines. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nerd
no,
right
it's
here.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's a good segue to this other question. This is one I see pop up in like the VTubing community pretty often. How do you feel like artists are treated in the VTubing community, or just commission artists in general?
Hmm. It goes back to the other question that I didn't answer, but it
Hmm,
goes back to like the like treating artists respectfully is a big part of like what I do as a commissioner, because like my process for commissioning always comes down to like I try to be mindful of the person and their time and all that, and be like it's why like I'm so finicky about like trying to get as many details as I can out of somebody. Um,
mhm.
because I try to give as much detail about like the pose, the character, or the general composition, like while I'm commissioning, to make the artist's job a little bit easier. But the other thing too is like I also respect the artist's style, because I've been rejected a couple of times for commissions, because
Ah,
um a lot of artists don't draw like very masculine characters like I do. They don't draw
story
muscles,
of
they
my
don't draw.
life.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's but it comes down to is like you just got to be respectful at the end of the
Mhm.
day. Um and I wish artists were treated with more respect, because recently there I
Amen.
saw somebody whose whose commissioned artwork was put into like Sora AI,
Oh,
and
ugh.
yeah,
Blech.
and the commissioner was like, "Well, I get to do whatever I want with this art piece because it's my character and it's all this and all that." And it's like, "No, that's not how that
Yeah,
works,
that's
dude."
no. Let's talk about intellectual property and how
Yeah.
that all works.
Yeah, and so they
Ooh.
violated the terms of service and all that, and it was really
Uh,
fucked up. And
yeah.
so a lot of people like a lot of people need to respect artists
Mhm.
and their time and all that. But the other thing too is also, you got to keep your artists accountable, because like if they're not delivering on time, like asking for updates is never a bad thing. Like you this it's a business relationship, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
you got to talk to them about like, "Hey, is this commission done?
Mhm.
Hey, what's the update on this commission?" Because like I had to do that. I'm gonna have to do that right now as well, because I haven't heard back from a commissioner that I commissioned almost actually a while ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've given him some credit, because like I know he's busy and all that
Right.
stuff. Um, and so like I need to like ask him like, "Hey, what's the update on this?" I asked another one on a couple of days ago as well. As like, "Hey, what's the update on this?" Because it does suck to like give your money to somebody and then and them not and them not reaching out to you and like giving
Mhm.
you updates like you'd like. Um, it all comes down to communication. Like VTubers especially need to be
Oh yeah.
better about communicating with artists and with and people in general for projects like this.
Yeah, that's why I've done so much of my work with Sugar, because Sugar's great about that. Sugar Gun,
Yeah.
and Sugar will straight out call me out when I'm being stupid, and I appreciate Sugar for that.
Yeah, no, I've worked with Sugar a couple of times too, and especially like because
I'm
I actually commissioned Sugar for a book cover, and I fucked up, and so I still want to work with Sugar on the book cover, um, but we went about it a completely different way. And so you
Mhm.
know the book cover will come, but Sugar, is covering her ass. I'm covering my ass. So when it's time to work on the book cover, we should be Gucci, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, because that's the thing. It's like tell like artists should tell us when we're being stupid, and then commissioners as well should be like, hey, like should also be on like artists' case about like, hey, like what, like you're way past the deadline. Like what's going
Mhm.
on? What's happening here? Like
Yeah.
again, it's a business thing. It's a business transaction, and you got to work respectfully with one another, but also not be afraid to tell them like come on man, chop chop, or come on man, like you got to be reasonable about what you want, right?
Yeah, Celestrius covers it pretty well in chat. It's a business at the end of the day, and both parties need to be held accountable for both of the work and the payment,
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
that's a great way to put it, where it's just like there's it's a partnership. There's accountability on both sides, right? It can't be one way or the other, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, I've been stupid sometimes. But other times I've also been like, I've had to drill someone. Like one of my favorite art pieces, I had to like be on this artist's case about like updates because yeah, I think it took them almost a year or like
Mhm.
for them to get me my art commission done. And
Any
like I get
communication?
I get how life is.
Oh yeah,
Um, but like you gotta communicate, man.
yeah.
Like I was like that. Another artist, one that's currently on hiatus due to mental illness.
Oh,
Like I
poor.
asked them, like, hey, it's a month after the due date.
Mm.
What's up with my commission? And they're like, hey, look, I'm so sorry. I'm having like a mental illness and all this other type of stuff. Like, I appreciate your patience. I could still work on this if you want. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I like, please work on this. When
Yeah,
you get the chance, just focus on you first, man. As long as
and
you're honest, like
exactly.
that's the thing.
Yeah, that's my big thing is like as long as there's communication, right? Because like I'm always the kind of person where like I try to pay up front, and I do that
Yeah.
not to put pressure on, but because I know how most artists are underpaid, and I've been there myself. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I just need communication. I just need to talk to you and just know that you're sick.
Hmm.
Take care of yourself. That's all I care about.
Hmm.
I want you to
Exactly.
have fun with my work, not and this isn't a gun to your head, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the other thing I'm also about. I'm also really honest about is like,
Yeah.
hey, look, have fun with it because like I've seen like like the different artists that I've commissioned have all
Oh,
done Caleb in like amazingly different styles. Whether I've asked them to or not, I just love seeing people interpret my character in whatever
mm.
way they find interesting.
That's a hard lesson that I had to learn because I had a full model ready to go, and I just decided it wasn't the right look for me. And the
Oh.
artist did an amazing job. They did great. And they're like, "Do you want a refund?" I'm like, "No, you did the work." It's unfortunately I'm not going to do a live of it, but I am going to credit you whenever I do, go with a new model. Because you did a great job. It's just not the look I want for Fen. And it
That's
was
totally
just
fair.
heartbreaking. But like that's important is learning when to give up a certain degree of artistic interpretation, right? Because like that actually makes the work better.
Exactly, yeah. Though
Yeah.
the one thing I don't what's it called? I don't capitulate on, I guess, is
Mm.
I always tell people like, hey, like I'm a darker skinned too,
Right.
right?
Control isn't real with projects. Shout sugar.
um
Mm.
like I'm a darker skinned dude. I try to tell people like, hey, like I like like, give me darker skin, like change I like,
Right.
I've met and I've seen artists that say like they won't that say they won't like they don't work with people with or draw people of like darker skin tones. It's one of the reasons why I don't do skebs from like
Mhm.
skeb.com,
Oh,
because
skip's kind of hard
uh
to do. Yeah.
it's hard to do, and because you're working with mainly like Japanese artists,
Mhm.
um you don't get any edits most of the
Yeah.
time. And the fact that like, I don't want to like emphasize to them, or I don't want to get on their case about like, hey, you drew me too white, or and all this kind of stuff. Because again, I've had to like talk to a couple of artists like, hey, can you make my skin tone a little bit darker? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't your character doesn't look that dark. And I'm like, no, I'm actually like pretty dark skinned.
I'll
Like, could
slip
you
that
just
into my
like
next feedback. Can you make me a little less of a white boy?
exactly, yeah. And that's one of those things. It's like, come on, man. And thankfully, again, nobody's ever been really mean about me,
Yeah.
or really mean to me about it.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Looks in Black and Latino disappointment. Yep. So it's one of those things where it's just like, this is rough.
right.
I do wish that I looked a little bit darker, but then again, also, but I don't like. I still think this is fine. Like, I am like appropriately dark skinned.
Mhm.
Um, this is basically me if I don't go outside all that often in terms of like skin tone.
Right. Okay. I want to move to a final question, and then we do shake or shame.
All
It's
right,
going to be a big one. Are you ready?
sure.
Do you have an Oshi? Do you have a Kami Oshi?
Do I have an Oshi? Oh, that's hard because it's like I don't like putting people on a pedestal like that.
Okay.
Um, I have a lot of like VTubers, big and small, that I've got like a lot of respect for in one
That's
way, shape, or
fish.
form. Like I respect Val, like
Mhm.
Ophelia Valentine. Like, she's incredibly sweet. She's super supportive.
Okay.
The fact that she's rated me a couple of times as well. Um, Same could be said about Siri. Siri's also been fantastic.
Okay.
I've got also like a soft spot for Takahata 101. Um,
Shout out my boy.
yeah, I again, Taka was one of the first male VTubers that I saw. I think
Mhm.
he's really cool. Um, and but it's hard for me to say that they're my Oshi, because like, again, I don't like putting people on a pedestal like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm not super big into like idol culture and all that. So
Mhm.
it's one of those reasons why I hesitate to say that, oh yeah, like this person, I want to be like this person. I want to like, this person's fucking awesome. This person's my hero. Like, I don't like
Right.
to be like that. But so I always try to keep myself like kind of like reasonable about like, yeah, no, I admire this person. This person's really cool. I think like they're fantastic.
No,
Because
that's
like
a
the
very
other way
mature
about it,
approach. Mm.
yeah. The other thing about it too is like, I also have like content creators I've always looked up to, like Nick from Bitter
Oh,
Bits,
yeah. Shout out my boy,
Franz, a German spy,
Franz.
Epic Name Bro. Like, there's so many people that I looked up to, and have inspired me to do content creation. But again, it's like, I also know that they're people at the end of the day, so I don't like putting them on that pedestal or making them feel awkward.
Right, because you're kind of putting your own impressions on a person, right? When they may just be like, I'm just a dude. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the reason why, like, I always approach like my content creation in the very very much the same way. It's like, I'm just a dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's why also I don't do the whole like boyfriend or daddy experience thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, it works for some people. It just doesn't work for me, because it's like, yeah, no, I'm just a dude on the internet, man. Like,
Right.
I'm not somebody that you can like. Okay, you're fine. Like, you're finally like sexualizing me. Like, that's fine. But like, just like, I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not who you think I am half the time. Anyway, like, I guess like that's the best way to put it.
I I don't know how to explain. Like I think because I discovered I was demi later in life, like I've tried dipping my toes in that direction, and every time I'm more repulsed by myself in the moment. I'm just like, I can't. No, no, no. This is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah,
But
like, I'm the same way.
mm,
I'm very weird about it, because it's like, I'm also like rusty as fuck when it comes to like flirting. But the other thing too is because like the VTubing space is so like it's like there's a bunch of different types of audience members as
Right.
well. Like I think the only people that I'm going to be flirting with are either going to be my friends because my
Mhm.
friend friends flirt with each other or not even flirt but like they love saying shit to each other to like fuck each other over sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and then
Um, mm.
oh, what's
Oh,
up?
go ahead. Oh, I was going to jump in for those who don't know what an oshi is, what we're talking about. Oshi is basically the Japanese term for like your idol, right? And the person that you
Yeah.
support wholeheartedly, right? And Kami Oshi is the god version of that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I just try to be like, if I'm gonna be flirty, it's mostly just gonna be either to people that I consider friends, or it's going to be like actually towards like people that I am attracted to, or in my
Yeah.
case, women that I'm attracted to. But I don't do that either way because it's like even if I'm attracted to someone, God, I'm not smooth at all. I'm as smooth as chunky peanut butter, as I like to say. So I'm
I like
just
chunky peanut butter. What's wrong with chunky peanut butter?
there's nothing wrong with chunky peanut butter, but I'm just as smooth as that. uh, so
It's rough.
it's why I don't flirt in general because it's like I
Mhm.
want to be one respectful because it's like I'm not gonna flirt with people I don't know,
Right.
and two it's just like I'm gonna come off as a fucking idiot if I try to flirt. I'm bad at it.
Right. Side story. I don't know how to flirt, but in D&D, Sugar, who is my current DM, was like, "Hey, I'm going to introduce some characters. Is anyone not okay with romance?" And I was like, "Well, I'm Demi, so I probably won't." And so Sugar, of course, introduced this character, Mrs. Wormstream, if you know who that is from Curse of Strahd. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and of course used art that was my type, and it was one of those things where I didn't realize it in the moment, but I guess I accidentally turned on the Riz, and I had no idea I was
Hey.
doing it in the moment. And afterwards, everyone's like, what the f, Lopin? Why are you flirting? I'm like, I'm flirting. Oh.
Yeah,
you know no.
I sometimes flirt without meaning to.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, what? Did I actually am I actually like I'm actually flirting? What?
Riz, what's that?
Riz, what is that?
What is the Riz? Putting on the Riz.
Yeah,
That's not a good
exactly.
reference. Young Frankenstein, shout out. Okay, cool. Let's do shake or shame. This is gonna be fun. So shake. Yeah, Sugar was real mad at me. Shake or shame is a mini game, an idea. Caleb actually gave me the idea for it. I covered it a little bit earlier. I'm going to suggest a topic, and you can either shake on it, you saying it's good, you agree with it, or you can shame on it and say why it sucks.
Okay.
Um,
All right. All right.
so this will be some easy ones at the start, and then they'll progressively get harder, and probably towards the end I'll just wrap it up with some ones that are a little more fun for you. So let's start.
All right.
First one, social media.
Ooh. God, with the way social media is right now, I kind of want to say shame.
Yeah,
Because my God, is social media so toxic right now? Especially like
every aspect.
there's no non-toxic social media basically.
Yeah. There's nowhere you can go, but it's kind of one of those things where if you're in content creation, can you get away from it? You really can.
You really can't. I've had this not argument, but I've had to discuss this with like people on the Discord, my Discord,
Mhm.
because it's like, well, why do you still use Twitter? And I'm like, because I have like 800 something followers on Twitter. Some of them might not be on the Discord or in the
Mhm.
Discord. So yeah, like the thing is, for as much as Twitter sucks, Twitter is still a place where my community is. And here's the thing, I could probably get away with not using Twitter. That's fine. But how about like everybody else? How about some of the big content creators that have like a big Twitter presence
Oh yeah.
and they rely on Twitter to like get their stuff out there? So yeah, it's one of those things where like I want like shame for sure, but like it is the devil that we have to deal with as a content creator is is using Twitter and social media.
Yep. In the business, we call that the marketing funnel. And the idea is the closer you get to the tip of the funnel is the most direct you talk with your audience. That'd be like Discord. The top of the funnel, the widest, is like casting a net out into the water. You're trying to fish for more. And sometimes you just got to throw at different levels of the funnel and see what you get, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So next one, kind of related, social media trend posts. So like example, 10 games to get to know me.
I think those are fun. I think I'm going to shake on those because I think they're fun. The caveat being is I don't particularly like a lot of the ones that ask for like in-depth information about
Oh
yourself.
yeah.
Like those are a potential like hacking nightmare because people can use that shit to like stalk you.
Yep.
But if you're talking about like 10 games to get to know me by, or some silly little like meme trend, that's fine. I'll shake on those. But it's the ones that say like, oh well, what's your favorite drink, or what, or like what's your birth sign, and yada yada yada. I feel like a lot of those are just like fishing for questions to try to like stalk people. I don't know. I'm a little paranoid about those ones.
Right. Try to figure out your birth sign so they can figure out your birth date.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Next one, friend slop games. And you know what a friend slop game is, right?
Yeah, like a Lethal Company, Repo, things like that.
Bingo.
Yeah. I I want to shake on those, but like it's a limp-wristed shake, honestly. Um because like I will like obviously you only really have fun with those with friends,
Mm,
but because like we're so inundated with those games now, I'm just like like I like maybe I want to play Lethal Company, right? But then
right.
everybody wants to play Repo, or everybody wants to play other friend slop game, and I'm like, after a while I was just like trying to keep up with them just feels a little bit like FOMO, where
Oh,
it's like,
there's a
oh
brand new
well,
one right now. Uh,
exactly, yeah.
yeah. It's a weird
So
churn right now. And it's kind of one of those things where you either hop on the trend for a little bit or you feel left out, right?
exactly, yeah. And with like VTubing and content creation in general, it's like, oh yeah, it's very much like you're hopping on the train, and I'm just like, you know what? I will only ever play friend swap games if I have the money to pay for it or somebody gives it to me. Otherwise, I'm just not gonna bother with these. I'm not gonna bother trying to keep up with them because my god, is it annoying to try to do that. I would much rather play like a co-op, an actual co-op game,
Hmm.
um, rather than just friend swap games myself.
Oh, honestly, that's why what was the game that was came out? Uh, shoot, I'm forgetting what it's called. It starts with an S. It was from the it's devs. It's from Dreamhaven, but basically you buy one copy of the game and you can play with up to 4 players online, right? And they don't have to own copies of the game.
Oh.
That model to me made so much more sense for because like it with most friend slot games is like they're under $10, so I can buy it and then throw 3 copies out to my friends, and
Exactly,
cost
yeah.
cost me about the same price that it would normally cost.
Mhm.
It's like they know what they're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So next one, kind of related, and this one I know the answer to the next two. FPS
Mhm.
games, first person
Uh,
shooters.
yeah. I think just because I'm not the biggest fan of them, I'm gonna say shame.
Oh,
Just
okay.
just because it's like I'm not the biggest fan of them. Like there are just very few examples where I actually enjoy playing FPS games,
Mm.
and that's Siege and Overwatch. And even then, like I don't like Overwatch all that much anymore, just given all how much has changed about it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm just not a big FPS player. It's like, yeah, eh.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I thought Rainbow Six. I was like, this might be a shade, but No, that totally made sense. And like, I feel like Marvel Rivals has dropped off too, because that might just be the cycle of team-based shooters, right? As people play them for a couple months, they lose popularity, and then something big happens to bring people back in. It's about that content churn out, right?
Exactly. Like I like Marvel Rivals. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm even part of a team that we play with on. I play with every once in a while. But
Mhm.
like, it goes back to that whole thing where like if I have people that I can play with, it's fine for me. But because most of the time people are not, we're not at the same time or one thing or another. Like I'm just like, well, kind of not interested in playing most of the time unless there's something interesting that I want to try to grind for or whatever.
Right.
So yeah.
So
So
I'm going to jump to a couple different ones. So then the next one, collaboration culture.
oh man, collaboration culture is really hard for me to say shake on
Right.
because I hate this is one thing I hate about the VTubing community is I hate the whole idea of like kingmakers, and
Oh, yeah.
that's the thing with VTubing that I really hate is and content creation in general, right? That you
Mhm.
have to like prioritize like making making connections with the right people, right? That you
Mhm.
have to collab with like bigger and bigger VTubers. And I'm like, that's so disingenuous.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
feel like a lot of collab culture is disingenuous at the end of the day. It's why I don't actively ask for collabs.
Mhm.
Because I'm like because one, I don't want to feel like I'm just trying to like what's it called? Just use somebody for like clout and all that. Um and the other thing too is just like it's again it goes back to just it being disingenuous. It just feels
Just
like
not treating people like humans, right?
exactly. It's not treating
Yeah.
people like humans. So I have to say shame on it just because of just the treatment at the end of the day. I get that like for a lot of people content creation is a business, but you don't treat people like a business at the end of the day, right? Because it goes back to what we were talking about artists. Like there's still a
Yeah.
lot of there's still like there's still people at the end of the day. So you got to treat them like people even if it's a business transaction.
Yep.
And yeah,
No.
collab culture is hard for the Nero spicy. I agree because like the other thing too is like I overthink it a lot of the time. Like, oh well, I want to collab with these people that I think that I want to say I'm friends with, but do they think I'm their friend, or am I going to be clout chasing or seen as clout chasing and all that? It's hard.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Cause like I want to just play games with my friends, but then like if you play a 4-player, game, then it's like, oh, someone might get left out. If you play a game larger than that, and you're trying to stream it, it's like, have you ever
Hmm.
watched a collab stream with like 8 streamers plus? It's
Oh
it's a
God,
nightmare.
it
it
is.
gets
It is.
it gets insane. Like lethal is like, kind of like the cusp of it when it's like, a full lobby. Um,
Hmm.
but that's only because you all break up and go different directions, right? So you usually end up in pairs, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
God, that's one. Okay, so next one, RPG games.
We gotta shake on those, man. I love my RPG games,
I
whether
knew
it's
it. I knew it.
JRPGs, ARPGs, CRPGs, JRPGs, whatever. Like I love them.
Okay, so then the next one, consoles versus PC.
I if we're talking about like the whole debate between the two of them, I think I'm gonna say shame because I think it's such a stupid debate. Just play video games how you want to play them. Um, but if you're saying like, oh well, am I a PC guy or am I a console guy? Then at the end of the day, I'm gonna say like I'm mostly PC, though I do really enjoy my consoles. I love using my PS5 for streams because it just means like there's less resources on my computer.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I just don't like the whole console versus PC thing. I think it's honestly so like 2010s of a discussion to have. I think it's I think it's so gatekeepy as well when you're trying to say, well, console's better or PC's better. It's like, motherfucker, they're video games. Have fun with them at the end of the day.
Right? No, that's exactly what I wanted. That's why I phrased it that way. So next one, and this one's relevant because we're coming up to it. the Game Awards and by proxy Summer Games Fest.
Oh. Oh, that's a hard one because depending on how they go, it really it's one of those things. Like award shows in general, I don't like because of just the behavior and the vitriol behind it. It's why I want to say shame on them. But the other
Oh,
thing too, though, is the fact that like these past couple of game awards have been examples where um the games have been the games that have been winning are actually showing that there's this movement away from the content creator space, or not the content creator space, away from the AAA space.
yeah,
So it's you know, Astrobot won, Baldur's Gate 3 won,
yeah.
and it's maybe it's gonna be Expedition 33 that wins this year, right?
It
These
could.
are just examples of the fact that gaming culture is moving away from like needing like these big AAA games, needing to win every time. Um, and so it's like it's a really hard that's a really hard one. I think just because the culture, like the toxic culture is still there, I want to say shame, but
Mhm.
because there's this movement to like at like where games are actually being taken seriously now, and it's not just the AAA games winning. I gotta say, like, maybe hesitant shake as well.
Okay. Okay. No, I'm with it. Yeah, that made sense. Okay, the next few I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with. Uh
Okay.
VTuber agencies.
Shame. I think I think they're so fucking predatory, and they're full of just so much horseshit. Like,
Okay.
um, like don't get me wrong, maybe this is more of like a of an agency thing with like American or Western VTubers, but I'm pretty sure there's as much toxic bullshit in the Japanese space as well.
Mhm.
Um, so it's why, like, I think VTubing agencies are so stupid. I hate this idea that you have to play the character that you know that we're telling you to play, that you have to abide by all these bullshit rules. It's the worst parts of idol culture too, where
Oh
like
yeah.
you can't have a partner, you can't talk about your life outside of VTubing. You have to be the character every single second that you are on stream, right? Yeah, um I think it's so bullshit. And then also considering the fact like how predatory they are, because they want people who are going to be part of their culture, because they're people that want to like that desperate big break as a content creator, right?
Mhm.
It's why there's so many corpo VTubers, and it's also part of the reason why I don't watch corpo VTubers most of the time, because it's like it's very much the commoditization of VTubing and content creation in general. It's like, yes, you are my VTuber. You have to play the role that I want you to play. Otherwise, you're gonna lose your contract, and you're gonna lose this character, and you're gonna lose your audience.
Right. The idea that everything you've created, your IP, everything you worked on could just go away,
Hmm.
it's such bullshit. But I mean, that's how those contracts are written, which leads me to the next one: the death of V Shoujo.
The death of V Shoujo is one of those things where it's like it's so disappointing, but it
It's
is
it
it's pimping. It is pimping.
kind of
You're right.
is,
You're right.
yeah.
It kind of is. Um, it's one of those things where it is it just goes back to the thing is like these agencies are not sustainable.
Yep.
And the fact that they've screwed over not only the talents but the audience as well. That's the thing that's so monumentally fucked about the whole situation, because it's like, oh wow, you fucked over the people that had merch to buy, you fucked over the talents, um, and it's embezzlement, right? The
Oh
fact that
yeah.
this guy probably fled the United States as well,
Mhm.
um, to avoid getting prosecuted. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have no idea what has happened with Gun Run, but it's just been a nightmare after a nightmare for
Hmm.
them. And, I feel bad for the foundation, but it was kind of like one of those bright moments of streaming where everyone banded together behind Iron Mouse and raised up the money that was, more or less stolen. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the community because they were like, oh wow, the fact that they were actively like they actively turned on the creator or on the on B Shoujo and were like they were active to like do something about it makes me proud. I would love to see
Yeah.
that happen actually more often with other shit too, because it's why I wish Mythic as an agency would fucking collapse. It's why as much as like as good as GamerSups is for like its talents, I agree. I also believe that GamerSups should fucking fall because of who they're
Mhm.
associated with. Because it for all the good that they do, like the people that they endorse are not good people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
Or at least
that's
to a
going to
certain
be
degree that they endorse.
interesting. That's going to be interesting here. I think in the next like half a year, I think there's going to be some
Mhm.
stuff that comes down, especially with she who shall not be named in the VTubing space coming back out of nowhere. Um, I should have. Oh, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to add that one. How do you feel about Cinder?
Cinder's a mean girl. She's a mean girl that didn't peak in high school, so she wanted to peak now.
Okay.
And the same goes for basically everybody involved. I think everybody involved because this goes to my whole thing about like VTuber Google Docs in general.
Oh
Most of
God.
these solutions would have been resolved if people actually fucking talked to each other and not had been like little children.
Yep.
Like talk to each other about your problems with each other,
Yep.
not getting mad because you feel hurt about something someone said. Okay, you're justified to feel mad, but like talk to the person, right? Actually talk to the person. Yeah, I believe that everybody involved in that was in one way, shape, or form um just as big of a fault as Cinder was. Given the whole context of the situation that has come out. Everybody fucked up there.
Yeah. The Google Docky culture is kind of something I hope goes away in time and like people just deal with it. Right. The hell I die on.
Exactly.
I agree with that. Okay, so this one is near and dear to my heart, given my current age. Content creators over 30 or over 40.
Shake because I'm also on that boat. I'm technically over 30 now, so
Oh, I thought you were younger.
yeah, I turned 30 this year, so
Oh, okay.
I'm all for content creators being at any age involved with content creation.
Yeah, I want to add this question in because it's a really weird time where we're seeing people like Co Carnage, or like that's a million dude, and, these essentially pillars of like content creation now approaching their mid 40s, and it's like
Mhm.
okay, is their current work less valuable than their previous work? No, it's actually, if anything, more valuable, right? And this is
Exactly, I
unpaved
agree.
territory. So
Mhm.
that one I wanted to get out there as someone who is younger than me, and but apparently just now hitting the point where everything's about to start aching. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
everything will hurt.
Everything's about. I mean, I already feel it. Like my knees are all fucked. Um, but it also comes from the thing of like I'm a my lifestyle's pretty sedentary, so
Oh
like
yeah,
I need to rectify that by actually like going out on walks again and like doing martial arts stuff again and all that.
yeah. Get those glute exercises in. I did not realize how much actually doing glute exercises helps a lot. Um,
Right, because you're not only working your glutes, you're working so much of your lower back as well.
mhm, mhm. um, Squats, always squats. So the next one, I think it's going to be interesting. This is one I've struggled with. Loot tubers.
Uh, Shake.
Okay.
I think YouTubers are fine. I've got nothing against them. Sex work is work at the end of the day. I
Hmm.
am not gonna villainize somebody just because they decide to show some TNA or whatever.
Right
Um,
on.
Yeah, no, I advocate for sex work. I advocate for the decriminalization of prostitution. I advocate for a lot of this
Mhm,
stuff, because I think at the end of the day, sex should not be something that's punished or looked down upon, even if you're doing it for money. Because as long as everybody's safe and consenting,
mhm,
that's what's important. Because when you decriminalize something, that's when you make it so that people are being preyed upon, and all that, and where you're targeting, like, again, the lower members of society by doing that.
mhm. Okay. No,
So yeah,
I
I'm all
totally
for
agree.
VTubers.
Yeah, no, sets work is work, and it's like we're in a weird situation where like I feel like if we embrace those cultures a little bit more, things might be better in some areas.
Yeah,
Um,
I've made the joke a couple of times that we wouldn't have incel culture if prostitution was decriminalized, because at least these incels would get laid. It's a
that's
it it
yes.
it is a joke. Mind you, I like to preface, this is mostly a joke,
Mhm.
but like, we would have a healthier view of sex if sex work was legalized and
Yeah,
decriminalized.
I
Because when if we have a healthy view towards sex, we have less incels, basically.
I do want to do a version of this podcast if it takes off. That I'm calling After Dark, and that's a
Hey,
topic I want to hit on a lot.
no, that's fair. Yeah.
So segue question. Lewd or mature art of Caleb?
I am fine with it for under like a couple of different, or a couple of different just rules with that. Um
That's for the
uh
Patreon.
yeah, that is for the Patreon. The like lewd and mature art of Caleb. The rule being is, because I am a cishet dude,
Mhm.
I would just prefer that any shipping stuff is just done between like male female.
Okay.
Just because that's just who I am. Um Now, mind you, I do have a gender bent version that people have funded, that is getting designed right now. But
Oh
I think the
wow.
same general rule applies. That is, yeah, just keep it cishet. Like,
Mhm.
just because I am not LGBTQIA. I don't feel comfortable with like misconstruing to potentially new members of my audience and all that I might be gay, or that I might be trans, or anything like that. Obviously, I can't stop people from making
Right.
like BL art of Caleb. That you know that's not it's not gonna stop somebody, but I would just ask, like, don't tag me in it. Um,
Do it for
that's
your
the
own
only
satisfaction. I don't need to see it.
exactly, yeah. Like, it's just, again, it's not what I'm comfortable with.
Got
Um,
it. All right. So everyone take notes.
yeah. So to
Mm.
to to simplify it, shake on it with an asterisk.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 All right. Segueing into some stuff that we've kind of hit on. Twitch guest star. Now, do you know
That's
what Twitch
the
guest star is?
that's the knocking thing, right?
Yep. That's the whole function that good old Dan Clancy has been pushing very hard on. It's basically like a chat collaboration tool. And the only way to do share chats or any of these new functions is to go through Twitch guest star, which you have to
Mhm.
knock, you have to open up a window in your dashboard, you have to go through 15 steps just to use any of these new features.
Yeah, so I shake on it because
Okay.
I think it is a good feature. I like the idea of like sharing an audience with one another, and
Mhm.
it would probably make it easier to like for people to like follow a new person, because they're going to be like, "Oh, well, who's this person and who's their chat? Oh, I like their chat. Their chat's pretty cool, right?"
Right.
Um the only thing is, I kind of wish it was a little simpler um to implement, but I don't know, well, I'm not that versed in like text stuff to be
Mhm.
like, oh well, yeah, this is how you make this program easier. I would say, like, if there was a way to make it easier, that would be great. The one thing also as well is, if Dan Clancy is going to prioritize this, like this feature, actually have this feature fucking stick around, right? Like, don't get rid of it like so many other features that they've taken away from us.
Right.
And then also, I hot like maybe hot opinion here, but I think
Mhm.
if he's gonna prioritize this, the viewers that you get, like you know how they like combine the viewer rates,
Yep.
right? Um, then that viewer rate should go towards like affiliate or like partner
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I like that is a hot take for me because like, all right, well, if you're gonna prioritize this function, then at least make it so that this stuff makes you like partner eligible and all that.
The more I think about it, I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea because, like, yeah, you could argue that someone's going to exploit that to get their friend partner, but it's like, well, if their friends don't be on their stream often, like, don't they deserve partner anyways? You know?
Exactly, yeah, because of like now it does kind of again it can be exploited. Um,
Mhm.
but the other thing too, though, I think that's also going to be like one of those things that is going to tell people like, hey, why are you collabing with me so much? Is it
Right.
just because of my viewers? I think that also is one of those things that's going to be like, that's going to tell people like, do you really want to collab with me because we're friends? Or are you collabing with me just because you want my viewers, right? And
Right.
I think it's gonna really highlight that whole thing of like uh clout chasers at the end of the day. At least I would argue that it would at least like it would reveal a lot of people's true colors about clout chasers.
Yep. Yep. Totally agree with that. So the next one then is kind of related. Shake or shame, Twitch affiliate.
Uh,
As
God,
both Twitch affiliates.
yeah, as both Twitch affiliates, like, I like the idea that, you know, you can start making money, like, fairly early in your career, like, you know, you only need, like, 3 concurrent viewers,
Right.
so much watch time and all that, but the way that we're treated and then the way that, like, our split is, it really wants to make me say shame because
Mhm.
it's very much Twitch saying, like, oh well, you know, just because you're not partner, you're not gonna make all this money. You're gonna get like this. You're gonna get you know so little from your subs. You're gonna get so little from ads and all that.
Mhm.
Like the way Twitch treats us is very much shame. I like the idea, like again, like you know, an entry level way of making money, but overall shame because it's just like we're treated so poorly.
Right. Here, I'll jump to one that's related then. So then how do you feel about partner pushes?
Oh god, partner pushes are rough. Um, I wanna say I wanna say I wanna say shake because it's like
Mhm.
it's a good way to like mobilize your community to be like, hey guys, like you know, we have the numbers for like reaching partner. Like if you know if we could be like a little bit more consistent. But the thing is, partner pushes get exhausting though,
Yeah.
because imagine like trying to partner push and then like get denied by Twitch, right? And
Yep.
it's like, what the fuck, man? Like that's the thing. It's like I feel because like so many people do partner pushes, it is almost like this false mobilization of content creators, where it's
Mhm.
like or of viewers, and so it's why Twitch is so quick to deny partner applications because it's like, well, is are these numbers really sustainable? Because it's like you went from having like you know 50 to 60 to oh suddenly having 80 plus. It's like
Right.
I don't know how sustainable that is.
No, that's totally valid. And like I see it too, and I'm just like, well, you're not if your numbers just go back to where it is, was it worth it? You know?
Exactly, yeah. Like, is it actually worth it to do that? And
Right.
I'm like, it's why I say shame on it because it's just like, are you really doing this for I don't know, like just the intentions just feel bad, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So on that note, how do you feel about discoverability?
Discoverability, shame because it's so bad. It is so hard for like smaller content creators to be found. Um, I wish I wish that Twitch did something where like instead of putting like the top performers in any category at the top. I feel like they should put the lower performers on the top and
Mhm.
do it by ascending order rather than descending order. Like there's so many ways that I would probably like modify Twitch discoverability because it is terrible and it's terrible everywhere too. Because
Mhm.
YouTube's really bad about it. YouTube's really bad about it. TikTok's really bad about it. Like the fact that like these platforms just punish certain tags or or certain categories. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, some websites get around that by like randomly promoting people. So like
Yeah,
even a function like that where they just randomly bring up someone who is maybe deserves some tension or hasn't gotten some growth, they bring them up to like within the first two rows, you know, and then
exactly.
they
Yeah.
rotate people out, right? And it's a dynamic function. It's not like chosen, right? So there's not like, oh, this person must be spotlighted. It's like, nope, you just happen to be on the front page for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing is like I wish there was just more random like front page stuff. Like I
Mhm.
feel like the front page like it's why I don't like the whole like the front page application process
Right.
because it's so because the fact that you have to apply for it in general, I think it should just be random. It's like, "Oh, you're on the front page for like 10-15 minutes, you got a bunch of
Mhm.
eyes on you." Like that's how it should be rather than saying like, "Oh, well, you're a partner, you suddenly get this application to like get on the front page." Like
Yeah.
I think it's so dumb.
Yeah, Mitzer had a thing back in the day with I think it was Apex where they had the hot zone. And if you were in the final ring, you're in streaming, you might randomly get put into the top of the hot zone, you know? So it's like,
Oh,
it was essentially forcing those big critical moments on stream to be like there. So if people are just wanting to see that, it was a good way to highlight people who are skilled and getting to the end, right? Stuff like that is just like those dynamic functions is like Twitch, why are you focusing on these things and not these tools that are known to work? Right.
exactly. Yeah.
So next one, I'm gonna cut a few out because we've been at this for a bit. Uh I think you're gonna like this one though.
Mm.
Dan Clancy as Twitch's CEO.
Oh god, fucking shame on that dude. That dude is that dude is so like he's an old man that's like focused on partying.
Mhm.
I saw that he like there were videos of him at TwitchCon just partying it up. And like don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with that, but like
Mhm.
after what happened to Emiru, you should have been like, "Hey, maybe instead of like grabbing a girl on stage and trying to
Mhm.
like lift her up, probably should have been a little bit more tactful about what your like what your conduct is like, man."
Right.
Um, yeah, no, Dan Clancy's terrible. I think he is he's a party boy, and that's what
Mm.
he's trying to do. He's trying to sensationalize Twitch. I feel like he's trying to push Twitch to be kind of like Kick, where it's a very sensationalized dealing with like a bunch of like different controversies all at once to try to get people to actually watch it. Like that whole girl with that was giving birth live on stream.
That was
Like
actually gonna be the next one.
that's fucking shame. Yeah, shame on that shit. Like what the fuck, man? Why would you do that?
Right. And the one following that was gonna be Dan Clancy cheering on the live birth in chat.
Oh god, shame on all those people, man. Shame on the mom for that, and shame on Dan Clancy for that. Like
Mhm.
it's bad. It's terrible.
That's just one of those things where it's just like, maybe we don't stream this. Like, I understand celebrating childbirth, right? But it's like, maybe in a way we can't control the audience and like what happens in real time. Maybe that's something
Mhm.
that shouldn't be broadcasted, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Don't broadcast that shit. Like you're like there's a VOD. Like imagine 18 years from now, or not even that. Imagine 10
Right.
years from now, that kid's gonna be like, "Oh, what, mom, you gave birth to me live on stream," and she's like, "Yeah, I got so many subs for that." And it's like, "What the fuck, mom?" Like that's
You
the thing.
me giving birth to you bought your college tuition.
And it's like, no. Like, why? Like, why the fuck are you doing that?
Internet safety is so important. Exactly. Um,
Exactly. It's so bad.
yeah, yeah. There's something that I want to like call out to like, the one of the next ones was going to be events such as Kai Sonat breaking the sub record, right? Um,
Mhm.
these big large events, and it kind of feels like just Twitch in general, and like maybe just content creation is lost right now. And I honestly feel like, I always go to Chris Broad and like, what he said about like people like Mr. Beast and like how they've basically just ruined content creation for a generation,
Yes,
you
they
know?
have because they're like because it's the whole reason why we have like the like child like is this good for minors type of stuff, right?
Right.
Because like they make such generic content that is advertiser friendly and all that
Mhm.
shit, and then so it actively punishes like content creators who even curse like I do,
Yeah.
and it's so but because it's all sensationalized bullshit too. That's the other thing. Like I hate what Mr. Beast does. I don't like this I again, I don't like the commodification of what the content creator space has been, because it's all about like optimizing the algorithm. The algorithm has to be this, the algorithm has to be that, and you have to play into the algorithm. And it's like, okay, but like, what if I just want to be a dude? What if I just want to be like, what if I want to talk about something that maybe not a lot of people want to watch? Will like you don't exactly treat that well.
Yep.
Because again, for as much as like a lot of people
Mhm.
say that having a niche is good, sometimes being too much of a niche is kind of a bad thing at times as well.
Yep. Yep. I actually just had a conversation with I think I was talking with Sugar God about this where like, sometimes, you need to niche to grow, but sometimes you can niche too far down, you know?
Exactly, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
Um, that makes me want to ask you about censorship, but I know your answer about censorship and I feel the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah, censorship is bullshit.
Right. So, what, on that subject, I'm going to skip over one. Let's get to a fun one. Monster
Okay.
Girls.
Fuck yeah, I love Monster Girls.
All right.
Fucking shake. I
All
love
right.
Monster Girls. I don't think I need to say anything more, but yeah, I love Monster Girls.
To riff off that, Spider Monster Girls.
Weirdly enough, despite my own aversion to spiders, yes, I
Okay.
like Spider Monster Girls. Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't do it at all. My instinct to run or kill is just too strong.
yeah. No, my instinct, like my fight or flight
Mhm.
turns into fuck or flight.
Okay,
It's either
then
or.
then I'm going to change the next to well, yeah, all right. So the next one, I'll call this one out. Buff Girls.
Buff girls. Oh yeah, I love buff women. Buff women
Okay,
are great.
then Book Girls.
Wait, could you repeat that one?
Book Girls, so like bookish.
Oh, bookish types. Oh yeah, also shake on that. I love my bookworms. Because I am a bookworm myself, so it would be kind of hypocritical if I didn't like book girlies.
All right. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for Shake or Shame. That's this. I had so many questions, but that's mainly because I know you, so I know what to ask. Um, we have a few viewer questions we can hit on, and if there's any last minute viewer questions, go ahead and drop them in that queue. Bootworm or bootworm. Um,
Both.
okay, let's start at the top of the viewer questions. Uh, I'm not quite sure I understand it, but they didn't leave their name, so we can't. OBS, but why become a VTuber over cam streamer? Oh, so to rephrase the question, why choose to become a VTuber versus staying as a cam streamer?
A lot of it came from the fact that I just kind of got tired of being on camera the whole time. Because yet, like, unless you want to be an Asmongold type where you're
Yeah.
living in filth, You've got to you have to have like a presentation, right? Like
Right.
your setup's got to be clean, your room's got to be clean wherever you're at. And because I have like such a small space, I don't
Mhm.
really like I didn't really like doing that.
Yeah.
Um and because like to be fair, like my room is kind of messy. Like I try to keep it as clean as I can. But like
Mhm.
I got cups and plates here, especially if I'm eating on stream and all that. So yeah, VTubing just made it easier just for me to kind of like relax with streaming and not worry about like, oh yeah, my hair doesn't look good right now because I got up late and I couldn't shower or whatever.
Right.
And don't have to worry about like people like looking at my and my face and all that. And the other thing too is just for anonymity's sake, because even though I might have said my name on accident every now and then, the other thing it helps with is like, oh yeah, if I tell people I stream, they don't actively try to look for me, or they'll have a harder
Mhm.
time actively looking for me, and all that stuff because, oh well, I'm a VTuber. Like you don't know what my VTuber looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a lesson I had to learn too, was that I used my real first name. People still, I still made it part of my VTuber, right? Being Zad. Uh,
Hmm.
but when I did face cam streaming, I would get hit on, and it was just super uncomfortable because I had no idea what being a demi was at that time. I was just like, God, it just
Oh,
sucks, you know.
yeah, I get it.
So I get that desire for the anonymity, and like also like not having to be presentable,
Mhm.
um,
Exactly.
and VTubing feels like a form of self expression, right?
It does. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. Yeah. So next question from the viewers: dream model maker.
Ooh. That one's hard because it's like I love Cavalier. She did a
Mhm.
fantastic job. Um I think if uh I think if I could afford it, I think their name is Mavery. Mavery, I think is
Maverick.
she yeah, she did or they did Val's model.
Oh,
Ophelia
okay.
Valentine's model. I think they did a fantastic job.
Hmm.
Art style is impeccable. I don't know, I've never seen them do a mask model, so I'm not sure how well they would be able to do a male model like mine.
Hmm.
But I do really like their models. Uh, but then if I were to find somebody to do my like monster form, I'm kind of
Oh.
I would need to look around, but I would love to just find somebody who could do like my monsters form.
Hmm. There's
If
a
at all.
few furry model makers. There's very few because I looked into it once for Halloween. Uh
Hmm.
and like the only one I've ever found that I liked was Dodorilla. Uh
Hmm.
and Dodorilla though, they specialize in doing like VTuber pets and mascots.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, the thing with me is like I don't want to be too furry though. Like I don't want
Hmm.
to look. I don't want to look like I belong in Zootopia. The thing is, it's like I want to look like a monster. Like I
Yeah.
want to look now, mind you, my monster design is very much like furry adjacent.
Mhm.
Because it's like the best way to put it is like it looks, it's a were lion
Mm,
or a demon were lion or whatever. So that's the thing with it, but I would love to see if I could find somebody who could do that.
yeah.
Um and just do that justice.
God, I like that idea of were lion, right? I always thought you'd do good as like either a lion or like an owl and be like a librarian VTuber, but you kind of ended up going that direction with the Royal Archives,
Exactly. Yeah, I kind of went about that route one way or another.
right? Okay, so I like those answers. Next question. Any streaming opinions that you had your mind changed on, and what were they?
Hmm. Uh. Ooh, that's a hard one because I don't think I've changed my mind on any like streaming opinions because like I still stand by like the fact that like um for I think to start off as a streamer, it's really easy if you are femme presenting in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because because the majority of people who watch streams or who watch content a lot of the time are either guys or are attracted to women, right?
Mhm.
Um, it, but like I think I've softened my opinion on that a little bit because it's like it's easier to start streaming like that. But the hardest thing about but I add the caveat now that it's you know I guess like the hardest thing is to maintain your audience. Like maintaining your audience is difficult for any gender or any type of presentation, right?
Mhm.
Because sure you might have like a pretty model or an interesting looking model, but are you actually an interesting person to watch? So
Right.
it's easier to get eyes on you as a femme presenting streamer. But I think it's just as hard to like maintain your content at regardless of your gender identity.
Yeah, you brought that up with Stolly Sinful, and I always go back to two content creators, Man versus Game, who I have
Mhm.
no idea what happened with Man versus Game, as well as Rob CD. Man versus Game kind of had a mentality of ban them first, there'll be a new one, right? And then Rob CD was like kind of clarified on that idea was that the truth of the matter is about the health of your community, right? You
Exactly, yeah.
are you maintaining them? Are you keeping them well fed? And sometimes that requires pruning the edges, right? um
Yeah, I agree.
and so once you pass a certain point in like content creating growth, it becomes about churn, right? Are you gaining more than you're losing? Because at
Exactly, yeah.
some point you're going to just automatically lose because of bots, right?
Mhm.
But are you
Yeah.
gaining people back? Are you balancing out? Are you dropping? Are you gaining, right? Whereas like he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't pay attention to my viewer count anymore. I only pay attention to my current follower count.
Exactly, yeah.
You know.
I get that too because that's what my primary focus has been on is to increase my following. And my
Mhm.
following has thankfully been like going up, right?
Right.
Because ever since I noticed ever since breaking into the 100K or not 100K, breaking into the 1K rank,
Mhm.
like I've noticed that like a lot more people are discovering me, and I
Mhm.
feel like there is sort of like this barrier in content creation. Like once you hit like 1,000 followers, I think the system kind of flags you to be like, hey, this person is somebody to watch out for. Like let's promote them more often.
Yeah, that could be true because like I've been noticing I've been noticing like incremental trending numbers with doing things like multi-streaming or doing different things, right?
Hmm.
It's just one of those things where I'm used to doing it at that level for like high companies. And I don't know how to do it at this level, you know?
Yeah, it's hard.
Right.
Because I mean, it took me almost 5 years or more than 5 years to get to 1K. And it's such a grind because again it goes back to like the thing of like I don't want to clout chase and all that. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to be seen like trying to stick around like high performing people. It's like
Mhm.
because I want followers, and so it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, like, streaming is very much a labor of love, but it's
Mhm.
something that to always look at as a hobby first. And then like everyone who
Exactly,
like
yeah.
has a good head on their shoulders looks at it that way. That's like, this is my hobby first, right? I'll
Yeah,
worry about it being a career once I have to, right?
exactly, yeah.
Okay, so next question. What was something you noticed is a big issue that needs addressing with both big and small content creator spaces?
Um, so this I've looked at this one and I thought about it for a while. Like, we kind of addressed it a little bit with the VTubing space. Whether it's big or
Mhm.
large VTubing content creators, it is the tendency of like not talking to people that you are like having some kind of beef with.
Yeah.
Like you need to like talk to people that you might have a problem with. Like don't stop with the Google Docs. Like that's one thing that people really need to stop doing um because it basically becomes like a cry wolf situation where like, oh well, it's another Google Doc, what could have happened here, right?
Mhm.
um if there's actual like legal situations going on, shut up.
Yeah.
like like coming from somebody who worked in a legal office, shut up. Like, shut the fuck up if you're talking about anything like legal going on. Like so many people are just farming that shit for drama, and it's like, no, you dumb asshole, like, you're literally getting involved into like a legal situation. You need to shut up.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to, again, if you're having drama with somebody, hash it out privately, and like just leave the other person alone at that point. I've had to encourage like a couple of people, like, hey, look, like, I get what's going on right now between you and this person. Like, at this point, just say, you know what, I'm not going to talk to you anymore if you don't want to like talk about this civilly, and just like leave it alone. Leave it alone. You guys have said your piece to each other. Just leave each other alone.
That was actually advice I got from Activision Blizzard's PR team. They're like, when something goes wrong, shut up.
Yep.
I was like, shouldn't we issue a statement? They're like, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay to shut up, because it's because again, it's a legal situation. Like,
right.
When time comes to it, you can make a statement, but for the most part, like, don't air out your dirty laundry. Like, I don't want to know who's fucking who. I don't want to know who's being a mean girl or not. Like, just shut up. Just shut up.
So I'm going to quote that. Advice from Caleb Oscuris: shut the fuck up.
Just shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, the best legal advice that I can give, and it's not even legal advice, is shut up.
Yep. No, that's extremely valuable.
Is the best one I can give.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because I think to an extent, a lot of like content creators get used to turning everything into content. So in those situations, their brain is like, I must speak to this. I must put this out for my community. They want answers. It's like, yes, they want answers. They don't deserve them right now. You're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah. And you know what? Going back to the previous question and also addressing this one, that's another thing, right? We need to stop making things into content all the time, right? It's okay to do things on your own. It's okay to like take time away from stuff, because that's why burnout is such a big issue for big or small content creators, is because we're turning everything into content.
I had to finish this podcast set, and I was streaming with Faye Walking and Elise Nudes last night, and I was just like, I was so stressed about this. I realized I was stressing about getting this done. I was like, I'm going to call it here, guys, and go work on this stuff. And I'm glad I did, because I got done with half an hour to spare.
Hey,
and it was one of those things where I was like, no, I was actually working on this, and giving yourself like forgiveness when you're doing stuff like that, where it's like, you got to give yourself air and forgiveness,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So last question, and I'm going to shout out, this is coming from Celestrius. What was one of the biggest lessons that you've learned about yourself from content creation?
The biggest lesson I've learned is that I need to learn how to plan stuff, honestly. Like, I need to learn how to like with writing, right? Learning how to outline, learning how to plan things. Time management as well is one of those big things, where it's like taking time to like look at new tech that I can implement into the stream. Looking when to do X, Y, or Z thing, when to plan certain events, planning ahead. Time management is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned with content creation, honestly. And project management as well.
Yep.
That's a big lesson. Another big lesson is like again, like understanding like interpersonal like communication skills as well, because again, not to go like too much into it, but like I was thankfully tangentially involved with some drama a couple of years ago, but thankfully according to everybody, everybody, we just shut up. Like we went our separate ways. We stopped, like some people stopped talking to each other, and the fallout of this was like a bunch of friend groups stopped getting involved with one another, and that's fine. But yeah, like understanding like interpersonal communication skills is like really important. Whether it's for like big situations like that or just like trying to hash out like plans with other people. Like that's one of those things just to like kind of keep in mind is like, yeah, no, knowing when to just kind of like let things go or knowing when to communicate with people is super important.
Yep. No, that all checks out, and that's one of those things where like all that, I'm just like me going through my life and everything I've done. I'm just like, yep, yep, yep. These are all like skills. This is all stuff too that you don't learn. You do not learn this in college. You do not learn this in trade schools. You do not learn this in classes. This is all stuff you learn by doing. You know,
Exactly. It's all through trial and error, and that's okay. It
yeah,
just sucks that in some situations that you learn this after like a bunch of harm was done,
which
right?
sucks, right?
Which sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's where communication comes into play because sometimes you can salvage things. Sometimes it's better just to shut up and leave.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm loving that theme of what did I learn from talking with Caleb? Shut up and leave.
Just yeah, shut up and leave. If it cannot be solved by talking, you just shut up and leave.
All right. Caleb, you've been so gracious with your time. I'm going to ask you one more time, and you can summarize, you can answer this however you want. What is your origin story?
My origin story is I went from being a just a content watcher, a content consumer, to wanting to inspire people to either talk and engage with sometimes difficult ideas because we all have a story to tell at the end of the day. And to be honest, I want to hear other people's stories. I want to engage with other people's stories and see what I can learn and parse out from their lives or what they talk about. So yeah, my origin story is because it comes down to I want to read your story, or I want to learn about your story at the end of the day as well.
Or you want to write their story because you're a writer.
All right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you go. Caleb, where can people find you?
You can find me basically everywhere at Twitch, or well, not. Let me scratch that. Let me run that back. You can find me everywhere, with either like OscurisVT or Caleb Oscuris. You look up Oscuris, you could probably find me. Whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky, or Twitter, those are my usual stomping grounds. I am on TikTok as well, and I'm on some other periphery platforms that I don't use all that often, but I probably should. But yeah, you can find me everywhere as at OscurisVT.
And then is there anything upcoming you want to promote or plug or, you know, give people to look forward to?
Yeah, there is. So right now, now that have finished my donathon, I'm gonna try to focus on like my recording projects, which is gonna be my Vinland Saga, retrospective and like
Oh,
analysis.
oh
As
yeah, we're
well
doing this.
as like I said, I am working on a poetry book that is almost done. I just need
Hmm.
to finish editing it. Um, there is a bunch of other projects that I'm working on as well, like my Final Fantasy Tactics YouTube Let's Play series, my Hades 2
Ooh.
Let's Play series. Um, I'm also thinking of maybe scripting something out for Red Dead Redemption 2 now that I've finished Arthur's story, and that absolutely broke me. Um, and yeah, there's a bunch to look forward to, whether it's a writing project, a narration project, or something along those lines. I am working on a bunch of stuff, but I am looking forward to taking a couple of days off from actually streaming myself, just so I can relax after this donathon.
Yeah, you did some good work, and I caught a bit of it and popped in when I could. And it's always fun to just pop in and just talk games, talk ideas, concepts with you. So I hope everyone who watches this is going to be live on YouTube Monday, as well as the VOD will be live on Twitch. The next time I record this will be I'm looking at the 8th, but I might do one before then if I can secure someone. But yeah, Caleb, thank you so much for your time. This is
Of course.
Fenris Star Origin Stories, my first podcast production. All right, we're going to segue out. And that's it. That's the show. Caleb, I guess I
Yeah.
say goodbye to you now. Are you going to go
I
stream?
guess. I'm not gonna stream tonight. Like I said, I think I'm gonna take tonight to work on some recordings. But yeah, I think it's okay for me to just relax here. Are you gonna raid out to somebody? Who you looking to say hi to?
So I'm probably going to keep going. I'm probably going to take the stream down real quick and then come back with some dose of Yote, I'm thinking. Are you doing stream
Rad.
tonight, or is that it?
Yeah, no, that's it for me. Like I said, I'm taking tonight to just kind of relax a little bit, do some recordings for YouTube, and then just kind of leave it there.
Right on. All right, Caleb, I'm gonna say bye. Thank you so much for being the first guest. Would love to have you back anytime.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm down.
All right. Thank you, amigo. Bye.
Have a good night, amigo. Bye.
Bye. All right, and I'm going to do a quick little wrap up. I hope you all like that. Please do go check out Caleb Oscuris everywhere they're at. And as a short announcement for everyone who is here and watching this live, the next guest is, I already mentioned it, November 8th. I'm going to sit down with the artist who helped me create Fenris Star, Sugar Gun, and we are going to do origin stories again. I'm considering trying to get someone in before then, but I will probably get Sugar Gun there. You see Sugar in chat. Go give her follows. She's a wonderful artist. And if you have someone that you want me to interview and you enjoyed this, there's a form for guest suggestions. Please do submit those. I will be looking at them, and I do look at your questions. Again, thank you, Caleb. Everyone go check them out. Go support them. Go support the homies. Y'all be awesome. And I am going to wrap this and bring the stream back up in probably 20, 30 minutes. All right. I'll be back. Peace.